Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Monday, July 14th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the MLB 2025 T-Mobile Home Run Derby. And again, it should be a good one. Cal Raleigh, big dumper with a few others. Let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the participants of the 2025 MLB T-Mobile Home Run Derby. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday. Let's get it. And on the thumb, on the left is big dumper Cal Raleigh, the best catcher in baseball and leading MLB with 38 home runs. And on the right, one of the up-and-coming stars, a player that I truly love, James Wood. Now let's get into the starting lineups and the participants for the MLB 2025 T-Mobile Home Run Derby. And this is not in any specific order. I'm not sure if they've released the order just yet, but just based on the photos that I have. First off, from the Seattle Mariners, big dumper Cal Raleigh. He's going to have his dad pitching to him and his younger brother catching. It's a good family story, and we know he's got the power to hit from the right and the left. There's never been a catcher that's won. There's never been a switch hitter that has won, but really the key is not going to be Cal Raleigh. It's going to be his dad. If his dad pitches to him well, he'll have a chance, and he could finish in the top 2 or top 3. But if his dad doesn't pitch, appropriately or accordingly, Cal may not even get past the first round, but I definitely will be rooting for him. Number 2, from the Nats, up-and-coming star James Wood. Great exit velo, up-and-coming star. Don't be surprised if James Wood is in the final. I really like his chances of being one of the last guys, especially if he gets off to a fast start. Number 3, from the Tampa Bay Rays, a young and up-and-coming player, Junior Caminero, another up-and-coming star for the Tampa Bay Rays. Kind of a sleeper pick. He definitely has, a very high exit velo, maybe not as high as like O'Neal Cruz, but someone to kind of keep your eye on. Might be the sleeper out of the entire 2025 T-Mobile Home Run Derby. Number 4. From the Twins, Byron Buxton. And again, this guy should be starting. Again, they have Javi Baez out there, and we know Javi can play second and short, and they can move him around, and the Tigers have a lot of representatives, and that's all great, right? But this guy has been, just waiting for a year to be healthy, and he finally got it. And I really, truly think that he deserves to start. Now, obviously, he did get the invite. Buxton's got a good swing. Definitely going to keep an eye on him. Number 5, from the Athletics, Brent Rooker. Kind of had his breakout year last year. They're no longer in Oakland. Still a stud with Lawrence Butler and company. And again, I don't know if a lot of people are talking about Brent Rooker, but again, definitely excited to see what he can do here today. Number 6, the hometown boy, Matt Olson, was supposed to be Ronald Acuna Jr., but ended up, tweaking the back and having a little bit of a minor injury, so had to tap out. And again, it's one of those things where they want to make sure they have a home team representative. Acuna would have been a better choice, I think, for, going deeper, but you never know. Matt Olson has got a pure swing. It's a lefty, and if he can get hot, you never know what could possibly happen. Number 7, for a guy that looks like a leadoff hitter, and can play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the lineup, might be the guy that is the shortest in MLB, roughly 5'11", 6 foot, that might have the most power. For a guy that looks like D. Gordon or J.P. Crawford when he gets up in the batter's box, he's the complete opposite. He can hit for power. Jazz Chisholm Jr., will he surprise everyone today? We will find out. And last but not least, the king of exit velo, and the man that probably should be favored to win it, even over Cal Raleigh and James Wood, O'Neal Cruz. And again, it really is going to come down to the cohesiveness and how they end up having that relationship on whoever is pitching to them. Is it going to be a family member? Is it going to be, someone on the staff? It's really going to be key. But again, if you're talking about a guy that's got extreme power, right now, I'm kind of feeling O'Neal Cruz might be my 1. James Wood might be my 2. And of course, being a Mariner fan, I'm going to be rooting for Cal. And again, it would be so amazing for Cal to be able to win it as the first catcher and as a switch hitter. We've never had a winner, as a switch hitter or a catcher. But again, if you ended up watching, batting practice there early, about 30 minutes ago, they did have Cal on the screen. And you can tell he's got his younger brother catching. He's got his dad pitching. And I love father-son combos. I mean, I'm a sucker, for, the Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott, and of course my favorite, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. So I love a family story. But the thing that kind of worries me is that if Cal's dad can't get into a rhythm, while pitching to Cal Raleigh, big dumper, he might underwhelm. And I don't know if you're going to end up having this amazing, 450, 500 foot, blast from the left and the right. I'm really hoping so. But again, I wouldn't be surprised either way if Cal ends up making it to the final and being one of the final 2 with O'Neal Cruz, possibly James Wood, or, maybe, not having the greatest outing. You can be a great baseball player and a great home run hitter and not that great in a home run derby, especially if it's your first time, because really it's not about just your swing. It's about who's throwing to you. And I'm just praying that, Cal Raleigh's dad can, get into a nice rhythm pitching right-handed, when he goes right or left. But right now, it should be very, very interesting. And I'm definitely going to be rooting for Big Dumper. But I'm going to really keep my eyes on O'Neal Cruz and James Wood. I would assume those would be the top 3, for most people's predictions. But again, it wouldn't really surprise me either if Junior Caminero, Byron Buxton, Brent Rooker, Matt Olson, the hometown kid there in the ATL, or Jazz Chisholm Jr., if you get hot, anything can happen. And again, just because Jazz is 6 foot doesn't mean that he can't go far in the tourney. I could see Jazz, getting past an Olson or a Rooker or a Buxton or a Caminero. Not sure if, he'd be able to get past Cruz or Wood or Cal. But again, it really is going to come down to the cohesiveness that you have with whoever's pitching to you. So we know Cal's got, the league lead, 38 home runs. And again, he's pacing for 66 to 70, which is fantastic. But just because you can hit home runs doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. And hopefully one day we'll be able to have Aaron Judge, one of the best pure hitters in the game right now, the face of baseball, Shohei Ohtani from the Dodgers, who can pitch and obviously hit like a madman, and then Cal Raleigh, big dumper. That's my dream. At some point, and I don't know if all 3 will ever agree to do it in the same year, but I think as baseball fans, we know that Judge and Ohtani have been the face of baseball for quite some time, but it's cool to be able to see a catcher nonetheless and a switch hitting catcher in Cal Raleigh be on the same level this year as Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, and then we just need to be able to see a little consistency. But definitely excited. As you can see, Pat McAfee and Ty Schmidt from the Pat McAfee Show there on the mic. Jacob in the building, Cole in the building, all day in the building, Ben in the building. What's good? And again, I'm not worried about Cal's swings. I know with the torpedo bat, he's going to be able to swing, just fine from the right and the left. Really, it's going to come down in the home run derby is pitching. And again, if you can't really get a rhythm from your dad, one of the assistant coaches, whoever is pitching to you, that will be the end of you. And again, so I'm just hoping that Cal's dad will be on the same page with him and they end up being right, in the sweet spot. And if that's the case, Cal should finish, in the top 2 or top 3. But if his dad is a little shaky, then again, I could see him getting eliminated in the first round. So, it's one of those things that, I don't know if people really realize how important it is. You're not necessarily going to be having an MLB pitcher, pitching to you in this type of event. Sometimes it's a family member, and sometimes it ends up being a coach. Sometimes it ends up being an actual pitcher. And we'll find out what combination will work best. As we know, rules changed last year, and Teoscar Hernandez was the winner. And again, I'm definitely excited. This is my favorite All-Star festivity, based on all 4 major sports. We know the NBA All-Star game is going to shit, right? The NFL Pro Bowl really doesn't exist anymore. It went from tackling to two-hand touch to flag football to events, and so that's a disaster. The NHL All-Star Game festivities are pretty cool if you like NHL, but I think the number one is by far the Home Run Derby and the MLB All-Star Game for one simple reason, is that they actually try. You actually get effort from beginning to end in the Derby and beginning and end, in the game itself. And sometimes, MLB All-Star Games will be lower scoring and it'll be a pitcher's duel, but at least I know they're giving everything that they got. Once in a while, you'll end up getting a 7-6 kind of game, but sometimes it'll end up being like a 3-1. But as long as they're playing to their best ability, I'm all about it, and I can't wait to be able to see what we get here in this 2025 MLB Home Run Derby, sponsored by T-Mobile and ESPN. That man in the building, what's good? And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 likes within the first hour. We're trying to get to 50 at the halfway point, and we should be able to hit 100 likes, and we'll be shooting for 100 on the dono train as well. But if you have predictions on who you guys are either rooting for or who you think is going to win, type them in the chat below. And again, right now, I feel the top 3 guys, in my opinion, right now, I think I would probably go O'Neal Cruz 1. I think I'd go James Wood probably 2. And just the fact that Cal is having his dad pitch, and I don't know how that's going to work out, I'll have Cal at 3. So I think those are my 3 top choices. But again, I would not be shocked, if any of these other individuals step up and do some damage. But again, if Cal's dad is on a rhythm and pitching well, Cal could definitely win it all, being the first catcher and the first switch hitter, which would be exciting as hell. James Wood, one of my favorite up-and-coming players with PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, as well as Jacob Wilson there on the Athletics. I love up-and-coming players, and I don't think people realize how good James Wood is. Don't be shocked if he ends up making it to the final. He may not win it all, but I would not be shocked if he's in the final too. Sleeper pick, Tampa Bay Rays Junior Caminero. If he can get off to a fast start, anything is possible. Byron Buxton, a guy that usually is hurt quite often. First time that he's been healthy, made the All-Star game, should have started, but they gave him the snubbery as a backup. But again, healthy and playing fantastic. Brent Rooker for the Athletics. We saw him with his breakout party with Lawrence Butler last year, one of the top 10 players as far as clutch factor in 2024. And again, it still might not be the same kind of sensational season this year, but still a guy that can hit homers, Brent Rooker. Hometown kid, Matt Olson, he's going to be feeding off the crowd. And again, if he can get into a rhythm, you don't have too many lefties in this competition besides Cal and Jazz, as well as O'Neal Cruz. So you'll see a few lefties, a few righties here. But again, Matt Olson, another individual that could go further feeding off the crowd. And 6 foot, 5'11", Jazz Chisholm Jr. Might be a guy that, people think that maybe is a bottom 3, but again, he's got a lot of power, and it wouldn't surprise me, if he ends up shocking someone, and maybe getting an upset on someone early on. And the guy that I think that might have the best chance to win, exit velo king, O'Neal Cruz. I mean, this guy has got the power, he's got the bat speed, he's got good follow-through swing. He can pull the baseball. So we'll see where it goes. But again, the guys that could maybe crush it the furthest, you would assume if they can connect, could be possibly O'Neal Cruz and Cal Raleigh. I think that's who I would want to see in the final if we could, match it up that way. Either O'Neal Cruz and Cal Raleigh, or O'Neal Cruz and James Wood, or Cal Raleigh and James Wood, out of those 3 participants. But again, just because you're a great ball player, doesn't mean that you're going to be doing great in the Home Run Derby. And again, as far as being a Mariner fan, we haven't had anybody win it since Ken Griffey Jr. So we're definitely rooting for Cal, to get past the first round. And if he can do that, you never know what could possibly happen. And it would be great for baseball and great for Cal, to be able to put the Mariners on his back and to be able to represent early in the 2025 All-Star game. And obviously he's the starting catcher tomorrow, which we'll be doing a live stream for that as well. Obviously with the World Baseball Classic, they've announced a few individuals to represent the US of A, Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt Jr., just to name a few. And it's nice to be able to see that we're going to bring out the best of the best, as well as Paul Skeens. And there'll be a few more names added onto that list. And what about the MLB draft that we had yesterday? The Mariners had the third pick, right? And you had the first two spots with the Nats and the Angels. I don't know what they were thinking, but they end up falling. The best pitcher in the entire NCAA, Kate Anderson, going to the Mariners. And we already got Durangelo as a switch pitcher, and we're working on his game. I can't wait to see one day Logan Gilbert, right? George Kirby, Brian Wu, Durangelo, and then Cade. Unbelievable. And again, just crazy to think a guy is, considered the best player in college baseball went 3 as a pitcher. And again, even the Angels selected a pitcher over him at 2, and I think they're going to regret that. So again, I can't wait to be able to see the development. And if you ended up watching the College World Series, ended up throwing a shutout. The guy is incredible, and we don't have too many lefties on the roster. Obviously, we got Gabe Spire in the pen, but it'll be really sensational once we can kind of mentor him, get him in the same kind of group with Logan Gilbert, as well as Brian Wu and George Kirby, Luis Castillo, Bryce Miller, Logan Evans, and then we have Durangelo and Cade waiting in the wings. And those might be the X factors. Once Durangelo and Cade are ready, that could be maybe arguably the best starting 5 in baseball with Gilbert, Wu, and Kirby at that point, even if it takes a couple years to bring those guys up. So let's go, baby. I am super excited. Let's go. And we've gained subs on a frantic pace, and I really appreciate you guys very much. And we've gained already 3 today, and we've been averaging about 5 to 15 a day. So right now we only need 11. We're at 20,989. 11 subs to hit 21,000. And shout out to all the people that have liked, sub, donated, commented, shared. We've definitely gone on a big increase in the subs and the views and the donos, as well as the audience. 3,900 plus regular viewers that come to the channel on the daily. And I imagine after today and tomorrow, we'll be in the 4,000 mark. So we're definitely going in the right direction. We're getting every age group, 14 to 17 to 65 and above, and everything in between. Female viewership is up from 5% to 12.4%. And then we have so many countries that have been representing the NWSF. 70+% is in the United States, which you would figure, but Venezuela, 4.2, Mexico, 3.1, Dominican Republic, 2.5. And those locations love their baseball, right? Canada, 1.2, Philippines, Nicaragua, Japan, my homeland, Panama, Colombia, New Zealand, Australia, and many, many more. So thank you for every single individual that is watching this stream, regardless if you're in the United States or above and beyond. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's get locked and loaded. Get your snacks, get your drinks, and let's have some fun here for the next couple hours in the 2025 MLB T-Mobile Home Run Derby, sponsored by ESPN. Let's go, baby. I am ready. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here for predictions and whatnot. All right, we got someone thinking Cal, rooting for Cal, and obviously we know a lot of Pacific Northwest people. Cool kid, James Wood. That's a good choice, and he's definitely in my top 2 with O'Neal Cruz and then Cal Raleigh. So I think James Wood, he's that up-and-coming star, and they've been so blessed on the Nats. Trey Turner, right? Bryce Harper, right? It just never ends with that particular team. And then now you got another one here with James Wood. It's like they may not be on the team, for a very long time, but while they're there, again, Juan Soto, another individual on the Nats that ended up turning into a star. And James Wood is a star, you best believe. Nat Man, as a Braves fan, pulling for Matt Olson, which I would totally assume that's who you'd be going for, just like with me, being a Mariner fan. I'm rooting for Cal, but again, the only concern I have is his dad pitching to him. But again, outside of Cal Raleigh, me being a Mariner fan, since 1985, definitely think O'Neal Cruz and James Wood have the best chance outside of Cal Raleigh, since I just don't know, how that is going to go. But you could say that for every player. You don't really know how, smooth the pitching is going to be. And if you really focus and watch closely, that usually is the determining factor. You have to get into a rhythm. You have to call your timeout at the right time. it's going to be a little bit different for Cal as well because he's a catcher and a switch hitter. So it's like, when do you call time to go from the left to the right? And you got to be able to time that. And what side is he going to be better on? Is he going to be better from the right side or the left? Something tells me that the right side, which is, obviously the weaker side, so to speak, even though it's not, he can hit, equally deep from both ends, but primary is left, and then obviously switch hitting opposite is right. But I feel like maybe if he goes from the right-hand side a little bit longer than the left, that could be the difference, but we'll find out, based on how Cal Raleigh's dad pitches to him, as well as his brother, who's 15, I believe, that's going to be catching. It's a family affair, and I love that. DJ says Bucks and Cal. I would love that as well. Bucks is super underrated, injury prone, but he's healthy this year. He deserved to start. And again, I'm not really sure. And I get it. The Tigers have a lot of representatives because they're the best team, record-wise in the American League, even though the Mariners just swept them. And we put up, 35 runs in 3 games against them and gave them the sweep after we got swept by the Yankees. But, definitely there were some mistakes made. Springer, should have been a guy that got an invite. Julio ended up, deciding to back out. They brought Randy in. But again, we'll see how this home run derby goes, and definitely excited for tomorrow. Matt Olson, yeah. It would have been better if it was Ronald Acuna Jr., I feel. Ronald's got a little bit more pop. Olson's great, don't get me wrong, but I think it would have been more exciting if Ronald didn't get injured, and he would probably have a better chance to go deeper than Olson. No underhand pitching, Mr. Lee. It's going to be, over, like traditional pitching. Some of them, might do sidearm, but it'll be traditional. Obviously, they're not going to be pitching as fast as a MLB pitcher, 90 to 100. So, again, it's almost like, kind of like a soft pitch, like they do in softball, but overhand. And I imagine most of the people aren't going to be pitching that fast. It'll probably be, the people that are pitching will be somewhere between 40 and 70 miles an hour, depending on who they have. Like with Cal's dad, I don't assume he's going to be hitting 80 miles an hour on the gun. It's probably going to be a little bit softer. And that could affect, Cal's, follow through swing, instead of having that ball, come at him 90 to 100 miles an hour as he's used to, and then just, having someone kind of lob it to you, you would think, oh, you'd be able to, adjust easily, but not so fast. You're getting a 50 mile an hour pitch compared to 100, it's a big difference. And especially trying to get it on the sweet spot on the torpedo bat. So, all right, baby, 22 likes. Appreciate you all day. Let them know. Let's get it, baby. Reflect TV, Buxton over O'Neill. That's a good choice. Mr. Williams, how are you, my guy? And you got Cal winning. Wow. Jerry says Cal for MVP. What's good, Mr. Williams? Sarah in the building, what's good? John in the building, what's good? Mr. Williams, Sarah, John, you guys have any predictions? You think Bucks and O'Neill will tie? Interesting. Moses is in the building. Wood's going to crush it. Hey, I love him. Again, my 3 favorite players that aren't on the Mariners right now in the entire league: James Wood, PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, Jacob Wilson on the Athletics, going to win Rookie of the Year. Those are my 3 young, up-and-coming studs. Absolutely love them. And again, we've been able to watch them when they've played the Mariners. But I go out of my way to watch those 3 as much as I can. And you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if Woods, if he ends up winning it. O'Neill, Cruz, Woods, and Cal, you would assume would have to be favored. But, again, in this type of event, you never know what's going to happen. Jacob in the building, what's good? Dark horse, Junior Caminero. I agree. That might be the biggest dark horse out of them all. He's got some good exit velo. Not as much as James Wood and O'Neill Cruz at the top. But again, a guy that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. But you never know. But it looks like we're going to go Wood, Rooker, Caminero, Cruz, Buxton, Chisholm, and then the last 2 there. So obviously, if you end up starting first, you're at an advantage. So I'm not sure if I really like that for James Wood being first, but we'll see. Sarah with a $5, appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do for a photo or 2 for a player that you think is going to win, or if you just want to represent your Cardinals, let me know. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. We're at 5:95 to go on the Dono train. Appreciate you. Let's go. said Cal all the way. And again, like I said, I'm not doubting Cal's swing whatsoever. I'm just hoping that him and his dad and his brother can be all on the same page. Yeah, but I think, my top three: O'Neal, Cruz, James Wood, Cal Raleigh. Those, not in any specific order. But again, with James Wood having to go first, this is a disadvantage. The last thing that you want to do is go first, so this could be very underwhelming when you end up being the first guy. Even if it was O'Neal, Cruz, or Cal Raleigh, we'll see if James can get into a rhythm. But finally, James gets one to go. But the guys that have like that exit velo power, obviously O'Neal, Cruz 1, Wood 2, Caminero's got that good exit velo as well. And we know the big dumper can crush it from the right side or the left. But as you see here, you're not really getting a very good rhythm with the pitcher here. And again, a lot of pressure when you go first. So this might be a very underwhelming performance by James Wood. As you can see, he's only at 2, which is terrible. And again, just because you can hit, 15, 20, 30 dingers before the All-Star break doesn't mean that you're going to hit 20, 30 dingers in the home run derby, unfortunately. So I really hate this for James Wood. I was really hoping it would be someone else that was starting first. And, considering that he has the talent to be a guy that could finish in the top 4 or possibly in the top 2. But again, him being first, I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the final, and again, that was even before the pitches started. So, but he's starting to get into a little bit of rhythm now. He's at 4. But again, if you're watching him swing, it's a little nonchalant. I need to be able to see the power, and to me, this is not what you would expect from a James Wood. I know that he's a young and up-and-coming player, but again, it seems like he is more than likely taking BP, like batting practice, instead of really trying to, hit these out of the park. And again, there's a lot, it's going to be mental. It's going to be physical. You got to be able to have a good follow through swing. You got to have a good pitcher, regardless if that's going to be a family member or an MLB pitcher or someone on your staff. And so far, a little underwhelming here for James Wood. So, but again, it could have been anyone. You could have had O'Neal, Cruz go first and kind of flop as well. So we'll see on how the rest of the guys do. But one rule is you never want to go first, ever, on any type of home run derby. It's a lot of fucking pressure to be the first guy. He's got 6. All right, minute 27 to go. Come on, Wood. Crush that one. Is it going to go? Oh, off the bricks up there. Just missed it. And again, in the home run derby, for the guys that were really good, whether it be the Polar Bear and Pete Alonso or Ken Griffey Jr., or Teoscar Hernandez, you have to be able to get into a rhythm where you're smacking like 5 in a row, and then, you might have a couple and then another like 4 or 5 in a row. If you notice, the guys that are the best at this event, they get hot, and sometimes they'll go like 8, 9 in a row. So, this is definitely not what James was probably expecting. And again, as far as the swing and the effort, I'm not sure if, this is really what we thought James would be able to do. And especially going first, not ideal. There we go. At least he got into double digits there. He's at 10 at least. Now 11. I was worried that he was going to be like at 5 or 6. And that's going to be kind of embarrassing when you're going to be up and coming player. Here we go. Now he's at 12, getting into a rhythm now. Here we go, 13, getting into a rhythm. Started really slow, but is getting hot now. 14. And then he tried to oppo taco there at the end, but only 14. And imagine if he would have just been a little bit better in that first part, he easily could have got to 18, 19, 20. But again, it's tough to be the first guy, to be off the board there. Yeah, they should do multiple camera angles, Cameron. I think that they should do it split screen where you can, see the hitter, but then also see where the ball is landing on a split screen. That's what I would be doing if I was running it and whatnot. So, but like you got to have multiple camera angles. Like if ESPN was smart, they would have like 3 boxes. the big box for when you see him hit, and then the other two on different camera angles into the crowd, and then like a side angle, so that way you can kind of see the swing from a side angle rather than just straight on. But, I'm not sure if it was solid for going first for 14. I guess, considering he was at 4 for forever and it didn't even look like he was going to get to 10, I would say this is okay, for, first participant off the board. I mean, you don't expect the first guy to, go for, 30 or something, but let's see if we can get most of the individuals in the Derby over 20. But you already know there's going to be a few people that end up shitting the bed a little bit. Yeah, and obviously everyone has seen the social media video of Cal, at like 10 years old with his dad talking about, I'm going to win the home run derby and whatnot. And, obviously trying to talk it into existence here. Nice catch by that young female there in the crowd. And James is still stuck at 14 here. Wow. Crushed the fuck out of that one on top of the Coors Light bricks. My goodness. 15. Dower in the building. What's good? I got the big dumper jersey on, and I'm hoping that he wins, but I figured, I didn't know James Wood was going to go first. I figured he would be like in the middle, but I thought O'Neill Cruz, James Wood, and Cal Raleigh, might have, a good chance if they didn't start first, but now Wood is first. So let's see if he can finish strong here. 16. And once we get into between the, in between each individual, I'll get a couple jazz photos up for you, Sarah, if that's what you want to represent here today. And there it is, 16 for James Wood. So, again, I don't know if anyone anticipated him getting to 20, but also, being first is a huge disadvantage. And again, when he was swinging early on, longest was 486 there for Wood. It seemed like he wasn't really trying, it was kind of like nonchalant swings. And again, this event is very difficult, but was hoping that he could get to at least 18 or higher and fell a little bit short. But again, when you go first, in any home run derby, if you, go back and watch, and obviously moving forward, it's, not ideal to be the first participant off, in the home run derby. All right, let me see if I can get a couple photos here for Sarah. A little jazz action. Brent Rooker up next. Appreciate you. All right, Brent Rooker, kind of made a name for himself, not yesterday, but last year in 2024. And, might not be, as good as he was last year, but we'll see if Brent Rooker can surprise a little bit here. I don't think anyone has him, making it to the Final Four. So anything that he does, even though we know he was one of the top, 10 consistent players late in the season last year with a bunch of names like, Judge and Ohtani. But home run derby for Rooker, we'll see. There we go. He's got his first one. And it'd also be interesting to see, who has more of an advantage, the right-handed hitters, which I believe, or the lefties. And I think righties are going to have an advantage in the Derby compared to lefties. And if you're a switch hitter, I think going right would be smart. That's going to give you more of a chance to pull the baseball in this park. But Rooker at 5, he's off to a much better start than James Wood early on. And obviously Wood being a lefty, Rooker a righty. But look at Rook at 6 already. He's definitely pacing for over 20. Wow. 8 homers for Rooker already. Man, he is wheeling and dealing. And again, see how they're in a nice little rhythm with the pitcher. And again, it's like if you don't got that sweet spot, and that right speed and that right location to get into that nice rhythm, you're donezo. And it looks like here with Caruso there going to Rook, they're on a nice rhythm here early. He's already at 10. Unbelievable. Sour vanilla. Yeah, someone should look that up to see what the records are. Off the top of the head. I mean, I've been watching the Home Run Derby for many, many, many years, and Julio did have an amazing, round. But as far as like the most, and the rules have changed, so maybe from the past rules compared to like last year, again, because the rules have not been the same throughout the whole thing. We've had some rule changes, and obviously going back to the way that it was. And even having guys like Chris Berman, calling it, I really enjoyed, those days, where we had Berman, calling the Home Run Derby. All right, he's taking a little bit of a break with the towel, a little Gatorade, a little wipe off the sweat here. Absolutely, Peter. And again, we're looking for another Seattle Mariner that we can say that has won a Home Run Derby. Ken Griffey Jr. won it a couple times, and we're trying to add Cal Raleigh to that list. But again, it's all about really the pitcher compared to the hitter. But if you go back and look at the, if you go to Google and you look it up, and it'll probably separate, the old rules and the new rules and who have the highest number. Now let's see if Rooker can heat up here again with that 10 at the little stopping point, now 11, but definitely was off to a better pace, than James Wood. But again, anybody going first would have been at a huge disadvantage. Now, only 40 baseballs. Yeah, that is correct. 40 baseballs, Moses. Now at 12. And also, once you take that break, you have to, try to get hot again. And sometimes, getting out of that rhythm of swinging, it takes, a few pitches to be able to get on a rally. And now you're starting to see Rooker starting to slowly heat up. 14 needs to keep it going. And still has the bonus round to come. And I can't wait for tomorrow. Scuba Hall versus Skeens. Cal Raleigh being the starting catcher. World Baseball Classic. Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, Paul Skeens, and Bobby Witt Jr. Oh my. World Baseball Classic is going to be exciting. Can't wait. And I'm super excited about the MLB draft. Man, such good talent, all across the board. And I just can't believe that the Mariners were supposed to have like the 15th pick, ended up getting 3rd, and ended up getting the best player in the entire draft at 3. So again, Holiday could have been an option as well, but we already have plenty of shortstops. And to get a pitcher, let alone a lefty, who's dominant, we are super excited. And we already got a switch pitcher that can pitch left and right in Durangelo. So with Cade and Durangelo, pairing them up with Wu, Gilbert, and Kirby one day, we could end up having the best starting 5 in baseball down the road, even though we normally have a top 3 or top 5, but this year we've been a little beat up. Rooker at 14. And obviously taking this last break, and hopefully he'll be able to get to like 20. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes before the stream ends. And we're at 5 on the dono train, 95 to go. All right, Rooker is at 14. And obviously one additional out earned with a blast of 425 feet or deeper. So we'll see how this plays out here. We'll crush that one. There we go. Nice snap of the wrist right there. 15. One more to tie Wood, which I know he'll get that. At least you would assume. $59 homers from last year to this year. All right, Rooker's still at 15. Oh my. Wow, 16. Now he's tied. You know he's going to end up, getting a few more here. But you see if he can get the deep blast so he can get the additional out earned with the 425 plus. There he is, 17. See if we can get a little bit more. All right, Rooker at 17, as all the others are watching the Rooker performance here, starting to wrap up, getting down to the nitty-gritty here. But you can tell usually with the people that are really good at this event, even late when they only have a couple outs left, they might be able to mash like 2, 3, 4 in a row. So maybe not the best or the worst performance, but Rooker ends up beating James Wood. Less pressure, going 2 than going 1, and he only got 1 more than James Wood. But we'll see where it goes. Rooker, longest was 471 feet. I think we have to go through the whole, 8, and then we'll see, what happens, based on how they have this bracket set up and whatnot. So, because there could be someone that ends up getting less than 16, so it doesn't necessarily mean that Wood is eliminated. I would really like to see, Wood advance and whatnot to see if he can be a little bit better, in the next round. But with only 16, that's not very much. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, getting like 8 or 9, being under 10, then you're eliminated for sure. But if you end up getting 15 or more, 14, 15, 16, you're kind of on like the cusp. Like you may advance, you may get eliminated. It really just depends on, what the other, bombers are going to do here in the Derby. So. So far, James Wood and Brent Rooker. And we'll see who's up next year. All right, Junior Caminero is next. And after Junior Caminero will be O'Neal Cruz, a heavy favorite. Then we get to see Byron Buxton, Jazz Chisholm Jr., and then the last two, we're going to see Cal Raleigh, second to last, and then the hometown kid, Matt Olson, which would have been Ronald Acuna Jr. if he didn't get hurt. So. Next up will be Junior Caminero. Sleeper, pick. I don't know. A lot of people would have him as like a top choice. But again, he didn't go first. And we'll see if he can represent the Tampa Bay Rays in Ray fashion. All right, number is 17. See what Junior can do here. Got to get off to a fast start. Junior, got to get on the board, bud. Oh, there you go. He finally got one. Get into a rhythm. There you go, two. And it also really depends on the type of bat that you're going to use. Are you going to use a heavy barrel bat? Are you going to have it being top heavy or bottom heavy? The ounces of the bat, it does matter. And again, I'm not sure how many individuals are using a torpedo bat, in this home run derby. But again, there's going to be a lot of factors that decide who moves on and who doesn't. But Junior's starting off slow, but now here getting kind of hot at 5. And again, you need to get into a rally where you hit like 3 to 5 in a row, multiple times in a round. And if you can do that, usually that'll be the difference between advancing and not advancing. Oh, Monday Night Raw. Nice. Yeah, WWE's Evolution, the all-female PLE that was on over the weekend was insane. It was incredible. Shows you how far that the females have gone, from the old school diva days to where they're at now. And Junior getting hot now. That was number 9. Oh, number 10. Braves fan caught that last one on number 9. And then number 10 there. Ooh, here we go. Number 11. Okay. He like first couple, a little slow. And then he got really hot there. His at-bat will resume here in less than 30 seconds. And right now, Junior is pacing for over 20. 17 is the magic number, and it's almost 100% that he'll get that. It looks like he will get somewhere, unless he ends up just going on an epic meltdown. But, 20 to 22 is kind of what he's looking at, probably pacing at. See if he can stay hot. But nice job by Junior Caminero here. And I know with a lot of exit velo stats, it was like O'Neal Cruz, James Wood, Junior Caminero, you got to be able to look at some of those stats. But again, just because, you got a great exit velo, if the pitcher, whoever it may be, isn't in sync with you, it won't matter. So started off slow with the first couple, pitches, found his rhythm, and then got on a rally where he did end up hitting 3-4, in a row multiple times in that early round. Sitting at fucking 11 already, which is great. And let's see what he can do here. See how long it takes him to get hot again. And again, you can only go maybe 3 or 4, pitches before hitting a homer, before you start to kind of press a little bit. There we go. There's number 12. Well, Moses, I think Wood would have been a guy that could have finished in the top 4 or the top 2 if he didn't go first. And he kind of got screwed going first, that they could have had anybody but him go first. And again, you could have had O'Neal Cruz go first, and he could have been like the favorite besides Cal, and he could have shit the bed also. So, it's not fair to go first. There's a lot of pressure there. So here we go. Junior getting hot, 15. Crappy draw, I agree. And you could have said that for anybody that would have gotten the first spot. So, if it was me, I think I would have had Brent Rooker go first. No, not hating on the athletics or Rooker, but I think him going first would have made the most sense out of everyone that's, participating. $17. 18. Nice job by Junior. Bringing that electricity, baby. And obviously it's not going to be the same as like, Bonds or McGuire or Sosa or Griffey, back in the day, but still really enjoy the event. Nice follow-through swing by Caminero there. Nice little leg kick with the extension and the follow-through. Good power with the legs. And it's cool to be able to have this type of event, So that way, if you're not familiar, with some of these guys, it'll give you a reason to follow them or maybe check them out, and pay a little bit more attention to their stats, moving forward. Yeah, Rooker or like a Jazz or someone of that nature. Of course, they're not going to go with Olsen because he's the hometown kid. They're replacing Ronald. They're going to have him, go last or second to last. So, but yeah, Rooker or Jazz or Buxton going first would have probably made the most sense. But, Wood got the, short end of the stick, unfortunately. But we'll see how the rest of the competitors do. He might still be able to advance. We have to wait for the whole field to go. And it's possible that someone might get 14 or less. Again, it's all about getting into a rhythm at the right time. Off the top of my head, I do not know. Let me know. Who was it? I mean, I saw Chipper Jones, early in the broadcast, and, he was kind of talking about, the old school time, back then, years ago. All right, Junior at 18. Jazz and Buxton under 16. Well, I know you're a Wood fan, so you're really hoping for a couple guys to, kind of shit the bed, so to speak, so that way that we can get Wood to advance to the next round and hopefully have a better round than he did to start off the event. So, but like I said, I love PCA from the Cubs. I love me some James Wood. And whoa, back, see ya! Holy moly, double decker. And I love me some Jacob Wilson on the Athletics, but it's like you've had Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Trey Turner, now James Wood, and it's cool to be able to have a player like James represent the Nats. They might not be, the best team in baseball, obviously, but it's cool to be able to have superstars like that, on the Nats. You go from one guy to the next, and obviously you're not going to be able to keep everyone, but they have a good track record of developing studs. Trey Turner, Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, James Wood. I mean, they're all in that stud category. And Junior with 20, baby. Woo! And again, that's what you want to see as a fan. You want to see every competitor at 20 or more. That's when they're balling. When you're under 20, then, there's a little bit of wiggle room. If you're at 18, 19, that's still pretty solid. But again, 20 or more, then you're starting to see something a little special. Look at that line drive homer there, 21 with 1 out to go. Junior's doing fucking great. And again, top exit velo, with O'Neal Cruz, James Wood, and Junior Caminero. And Junior stepping up for not only himself, but representing the Tampa Bay Rays. That's a great round, man. 21. Nice job. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sammy Sosa. Yeah, that came up on my timeline. Sosa beat Griffey that year. Orioles fan? Oh, okay. Yeah, 21 is very, very good. And again, I feel like a lot of people don't even know who Junior Caminero is. Longest homer was 475 by Junior. But again, that's why the MLB All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby is exciting if you're a baseball fan, because there's going to be guys that you've already have fallen in love with, and you followed their career and the ins and the outs. And then there's going to be guys that maybe you've heard of, but you haven't really seen them play that often unless you've watched a Ray game against your favorite team. And I thought Junior did fantastic. And again, you saw that he did get hot and hit 3 to 5 in a row multiple times. And that's what you need to do to be able to have a good number. If you're not able to hit 3, 4, 5 in a row multiple times, in that round, you're probably not going to be able to get to that magic number of 20 or higher. Yeah, but the difference, Nat Man, with Rendon, He's a guy that doesn't even enjoy baseball. He doesn't even care about playing. He just wants to collect a check. And Rendon is not in the same stratosphere or atmosphere as a Bryce Harper, a James Wood, a Trey Turner, or a Juan Soto. These guys, for the most part, at least the first three are going to have a chance to be possibly in the Hall of Fame one day. And then hopefully James Wood will be in that category as well. Anthony Rendon, not so much. All right, here we go. O'Neal Cruz. And again, everyone's been waiting to see the power. And if we're going to get the longest home run at the Derby, this would be the guy that more than likely would give it to you, based on his records for exit velo and MLB. So if you end up seeing something that's 450, 475 or 500, and you had to pick one guy that might do that, that's not Cal Raleigh, it's this guy right here, O'Neal Cruz. And again, they don't really have a whole lot to work with, and that's why Skeens' record isn't good, because they don't have a whole lot. Brian Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz, and that's it. And look at that. Look at the swing. Oh, my. Look how effortless it looks for him. Oh, my. Ken Griffey Jr. Oh, look at it. Uh-oh. This might be O'Neal Cruz, baby. I'm telling you, he's got, like I said O'Neal Cruz, right? James Wood, and obviously Cal Raleigh, but O'Neal had to be number one, and what a start. And he doesn't really have a, vicious leg kick. It's very, limited. It's just a little jab. It's all upper body. And if you notice, man, lefties, when they connect, gosh, it goes. Especially hitting homers on the first, 3 pitches there. That was insane. He's at 4. Now let's see if he can settle in. Reflect in the building. What's good? Yeah, and when I was mentioning those names, it was not just guys that played on the Nats, but guys that could be Hall of Famers, elite. Nice catch by that fan out there in the outfield. Great start for O'Neal Cruz. Cal's going second to last, Reflect, so that will be good. He's got his dad pitching to him and his younger brother who's 15 catching. And again, he'll hit some from the left and the right. And good start. Paul O'Neill, his dad's favorite player, named after him. O'Neal Cruz with 7. Got a very good chance to get to 20. Happy that they didn't put Cal first. Hell, if Cal went first and didn't get a rhythm, could definitely have gotten less than 14. So, but again, short end of the stick, James Wood ended up, being, first off the board. Could have been Brent Rooker or maybe Jazz, to start off the event. But we'll see if, that number will be enough to advance for James Wood and whatnot. But in the first round, you're trying to get to 20 or more. That's kind of the standard. If you get under 20, you definitely have a chance to get eliminated. And then, if you're not at the 20 number, you're trying to get to a minimum of 15 or 16, at the very, very bare bones minimum. Because if you get under that, yeah, you're probably eliminated unless someone else shits the bed worse at that point. O'Neal Cruz, beautiful swing for a big-bodied, baseball player. And he's got all the records for exit velo this year. I think he's got 4 out of the top 5. So see if he can get back into a rhythm there. And gosh, when he swings and gets it on the sweet spot, man, that ball just carries. Wow. Oh my God. Holy shit. That one went real deep. Triple deck. Come on, O'Neal. And again, he's got to get into a rhythm where he hits 3 to 5 in a row twice, in the run. So that way you can expand your numbers. And that's the difference from going from 14 to 16, from 16 to 20. All right, here we go. 11. Yeah, definitely going deeper in the contest is better. Anyone that starts off going first is a huge disadvantage. Or even going in the first 2 spots, it's tough, Much easier to, see what everyone else is doing and then you kind of have an idea of what to expect. But again, it's not like the same pitcher is being used for every batter, right? Each, individual has got a MLB pitcher, an assistant to the team, or in Cal Raleigh's sake, having his dad pitch to him and his brother catching. There we go. There's 14 for O'Neill. Slowed down a little bit after hitting homers in his first 3. But he's got a beautiful swing, and that ball really fucking carries. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Golly, look at this. Oh, my. Oh. O'Neill Cruz. Keep it going, baby. Wow. And again, out of every participant so far, none of them have hit the ball, with the follow through and the power. It's like as soon as he swings and the ball hits the bat, it just goes. And again, that's when you can see out of the guys that are power hitters, beautiful follow through swing. And he definitely can pull that baseball. 513 feet on his 8th home run. Not surprised. And I mentioned that at the beginning of the run, that if we were going to see anyone hit 475, 500 or more, it would be O'Neill Cruz. I mean, the guy is built like a fucking linebacker. I don't know if people realize, they can't really tell on TV, but O'Neill Cruz is 6'7", 6'8". They list him at 6'7", but well, I guess it really depends on if he has cleats on or not. But 6'7", you don't see too many guys with that type of height and power. 6'7", 215. He's at 18. And there's a good chance for him to obviously break 20. Man, exit velo is incredible. And he would have been a great participant, to be with guys from back in the day. Sosa, McGuire, Griffey. O'Neill Cruz would have been able to be right there with those guys. Would have been cool to see Julio Rodriguez participate again, especially since he's gotten hot within the last few days. But maybe in the future, we'll get Julio in the All-Star game, in the Home Run Derby. And again, they didn't really want to have more than one player represent one team, but maybe in the future we'll have 2. Maybe we'll have Cal and Julio together at one point or another. All right, let's see if O'Neill can get settled in here. Now they're going a little bit slower here. There we go, 19. Back. See ya. Yeah, out of the 6 longest home runs, Cruz has got 5, yes. Exit velo's insane. There we go, 20, baby. One more to tie, but he might finish with like 23. Come on, O'Neill. O'Neill Cruz for the Pirates. 6'7", 215. Oh, my God. Whoa. Man, you're not going to see anybody hit it farther than O'Neill Cruz in this event. I mean, maybe Big Dumper. That might be the only other guy that could hit as far. And obviously, if Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge were participating, they could as well. And maybe one day we'll get Judge, Ohtani, and Cal in it. All right, he's got one more out. Let's see if O'Neill Cruz can get to 22 here. And if he hits one, he might be able to go back-to-back to get to 23 as they have the camera on Cal, Big Dumper, a very popular guy. Wow, a tie there, 21. That's huge. I don't know what's more impressive, the distance of O'Neill Cruz's home runs or the simple fact that Junior Caminero killed it, But again, if Junior would have went first, he wouldn't have gotten to 21, And maybe if James Wood didn't go first, maybe he would have been able to get to, 18 to 21. So. I don't think you're going to see the polar bear in the Derby anymore. I mean, we've seen him, in multiple years, and him winning it back to back. So I don't think you're going to see Alonso in the Derby anymore. I mean, he already kind of, stamped himself, as the polar bear king, when he ended up doing it. So I want to see Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. That's what I want. 513 is insane. And like I said, before he got up, if we were going to have a guy, hitting 450, 475 and above 500 feet, this guy right here. And then maybe Cal Raleigh if he gets the right pitch at the right time. But again, how many competitors are 6'7" in this? He's the only one. So, he definitely is built different. Him and L.A. de la Cruz. Those are some big boys, man. Athletes. John, that is a good question. I'm not too sure with the rule changes that we've had within the last 2 years, if it's going to be a swing off or longest home run. I would assume it would be a swing off so that the fans can enjoy, a little quick round of, like that last round where they have like 4 pitches, maybe something like that. But, with all of the rule changes lately, they can pretty much do whatever the hell they want at any given time. So, but I would assume that we would have a swing off. I mean, that would be better for the fans instead of just being like, oh, this guy won because he got 513 feet or something, Awesome performance there by Junior Caminero, and obviously off the chain by O'Neal Cruz. And again, that was going to be my top choice besides Wood if he didn't go first, and then Cal Raleigh. So O'Neal showing why, he is regarded as the front runner so far. Buxton, Jazz, Cal, and Matt Olson. See what Bucks can do. $50 likes, baby. I love it. Let's go. Let's try to get to a hundo. And I'm super excited for tomorrow. Again, it's always going to be my favorite All-Star weekend. I feel like the NBA All-Star weekend with the dunk contest and the skills competition, the three-point contest, and the actual game, there's no effort. And they don't even have the best players in the sport, participating each year. Like when you have the dunk contest, you got a bunch of scrubs usually, not like when it was back when I watched in the 80s or 90s when it was like Jordan and Dominique, when you actually had guys that were worth watching and like Clyde Drexler. So, the Pro Bowl doesn't even exist anymore. They just do these kind of kiddie games, which is ridiculous, going from tackle to, flag football to not even having it. And obviously the NHL All-Star festivities, in my opinion, are number 2 because you actually get them to try in the All-Star game and the festivities. But there is no question, number 1 by a landslide is going to be the Home Run Derby as far as entertainment value. And as far as trying and putting effort and having passion, and on top of the game itself, when you watch the MLB All-Star game, it's the closest thing to a regular season game or a playoff game as far as an All-Star game is concerned out of all 4 sports. And that's why I love it. I want to see effort, I want to see passion, and I want to see people actually trying. And, again, unfortunately with those other sports, you don't get it. But with the MLB, you definitely do. Yeah, O'Neal, 6'7". And I'm really curious on how many pitches Cal is going to take from the left and how many he's going to take on the right. And obviously, is he going to go like left, right, left, in between the breaks, and he's going to switch it up like that? Because obviously he's not going to be going like one pitch left and then all of a sudden going and pitching one pitch to the right. There's a timer, right? So it's like you got to stay on one side and then decide you got to go left, right, left, and maybe that's how he'll go. Or or maybe left, right, right if he hits more from the right side. So, but I would assume he'll start, batting left, and then the next round he'll go right, and then after you have those last, 4 outs, maybe depending on what he hit the most home runs, and he feels comfortable, then we'll see if he goes left or right there. So there we go. 50 more likes to go. And we're at 95 to go to hit the dono goal. Let's go, baby. Can't wait for Cal, and I'm really happy that Cal didn't go first. And I just really feel bad for, James Wood having to go first. I mean, he's an up-and-coming star. Like, why the hell did he go first? You should have just had, Brent Rooker go first. I mean, no one thought Brent was going to compete or win anyways. Yeah, that's the guy that you want to go first. You want to protect, the best players, that are popular, that are bringing some, swag to the event. Not to say that Rooker doesn't have the swag, but again, if you looked at the entire lineup of the 8 guys, that would have probably been the normal choice to go first, but especially with James Wood being an up-and-coming star like PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Jacob Wilson. You want those guys to go later to kind of build them up, right? To build up the game. You definitely could have had Rooker go first, and maybe Wood would have gotten more homers, but we will see. We still got a few more individuals to go, and hopefully nobody has a meltdown. I mean, unless you're a fan of James Wood, and then you're hoping someone has a meltdown, whether it be Bucks, Chisholm, Cal, or Olsen, the hometown kid. But so far, James Wood, Brent Rooker, Junior Caminero, obviously with 20 plus. We just saw Odio Cruz, the front runner to win, 6'7", 215. When that ball connects to that bat, I mean, there's not too many guys that are going to hit it on that level besides maybe Cal Raleigh. And now we have the last 4. We got Byron Buxton, actually healthy for the first time, which is great, right? Then we'll go Jazz Chisholm Jr., for a guy that looks like a leadoff hitter. He's got a lot of power for being 6 foot. Then we're going to go Cal, big dumper, the best catcher in the game, leading the MLB with 38 home runs, was unable to tie Barry Bonds for 39, but obviously did it clean, and that's what matters. And last but not least, Matt Olson. Randy Johnson, the 51st like. I love it. Yeah, Olson is last. They already displayed the batting order that was going to be for the Derby. So Wood, Rooker, Caminero, Cruz, Buxton, Chisholm Jr., Cal, and Olsen. So first round, each batter has 3 minutes or 40 pitches to hit as many home runs as possible. Semifinals, top 4 batters from the first round compete in a seeded bracket. Final round, the 2 semifinal winners face off in the championship. Tiebreakers. Ties in any round are broken by the longest home run hit in the round. So that just answered John's question. If we have a swing off or a longest home run, it'll be longest home run, even though swing off would have made more sense. New rules, a pitch limit has been introduced. Not that they had one last year, with each round ending after a maximum number of pitches or when time runs out, which makes it probably a little bit better than last year when Teoscar won. And each batter gets a bonus out after their timed round, with the possibility of earning a 4th bonus out by hitting a home run of at least 425 feet during the bonus swings at the end. So that's based on MLB.com and their update that they just gave out. So I mean, imagine if it was Ronald Acuna Jr., Nat, man. He's got a little bit more of a power swing than Olsen, but again, we'll see what Matt can do. He definitely will have the crowd behind him. Buxton trying to get into a rhythm here. He's at 4 with 28 pitches to go. And again, if you're a James Wood fan, you're hoping that somebody between Buxton and Chisholm chokes. So that way that, you have a chance to be able to get to that next round. But, if you're only at 14, 15, you're definitely worried that you're going to get eliminated. Bucks with 7. Ty in the building. He said, biggest fan. Appreciate that. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, into this channel. I remember when I started it, I gave myself a 10-year plan, to be able to get to a point where I felt like, that wasn't the end goal, but, I knew it was going to take time, to be able to be full-time to do this. And, I'm on year number 13 right now, year number 9 on YouTube. Next year will be 14 years of recording, but it'll be 10 on YouTube next year. And again, I've been full-time for about 3-4 years. So I was about 3-4 years ahead of schedule, which is great. But we're really finding our momentum and our groove this year, especially, being the number 1 streamer for the Mariners, number 1 streamer for the Oregon Ducks on YouTube. So we're going to gain some ground there. We obviously know that the NFL is an oversaturated market, but I love it. And again, we will occasionally do some NBA with some Blazers, some hockey on the NHL with the Kraken, a little bit of NASCAR, when we're waiting in between that February and March time before baseball starts, a little basketball, a little hockey, a little NASCAR, and we typically try to do WWE once a month for their PLEs. And I'm a big fan of wrestling, been watching it since I was, 3, 4, 5 years old, and I don't think I'm going to ever stop. All right, Bucks, let's see if Buxton can get into a rhythm here. This guy had so much potential, obviously in the farm system. And then when he got called up, he hasn't really been able to stay injury-free besides this year. And, with a pure, no major injuries for Bucks, you've actually seen him turn himself into an all-star. And honestly, he should have started this year, And again, they had a lot of Tiger players and whatnot, but he definitely was more deserving than Baez of starting in the position there in center. But, see if he gets into a rhythm here. You got to hit 3 to 5 in a row twice. Again, you have to get into that rhythm to give you that extra oomph, to get you past Wood and a few others. Nice rhythm here. Now he's at 11. Appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, and again, we're just on the cusp of getting to 21,000, and then obviously the next goal will be, 22, and then 23,000, 24, and then once you get to 25, then you want to get to 50, and then 75, and then the long-term goal, unless we go like viral for something, will be 100,000 subs, and I plan on doing this for the rest of my life, and obviously that's kind of the end goal. It's like Avengers Endgame. That's the, way down the road, goal, where that might take 15 or 20 years. Who knows? But, I'm still going to be grinding, and I really do appreciate the support and the love, especially when we were getting about 1,000 to 1,500 regular viewers. Now we're at about 4,000 regular viewers. And if we can get that number up to 5,000, 10,000, then that's going to bring up the totals with the views, going from 1,000 views on every stream to 2,000 or more, 3,000 or more, and then eventually 5,000 or more. And then when we peak, we're going to try to get to that, 8, 9, 10,000, or more. And obviously that will take time. But, if the Mariners end up making the World Series and winning, that could probably be the biggest thing to help the channel, catapult to that next level. Since obviously I'm going to be the main guy, doing the Seattle Mariners on YouTube. So, but I appreciate greatness, and I appreciate every fan from every fan base. And again, it's just nice to be able to watch not only the Mariners, but all of these other OGs and greats on other teams as well. Bucks at 14. Now all the James Wood, fans are just hoping that Buxton just doesn't get any more. But, again, going first, you're at a big disadvantage. And there's number 15. James Wood fans pulling their hair out saying, why the hell did he have to go first? Why wasn't Rooker or Jazz going first? Appreciate that, Ty. I saw that. He did hit the cycle on his bobblehead day. You are correct. And there's not very many players that can hit a cycle even once in their career. So I'm really happy for Buxton. I heard a lot about him. I read a lot about him when he was in the farm years ago and how he was going to be like an up-and-coming star. But then he just kept getting hurt and never could really play a full year. And, fingers crossed, knock on wood, he doesn't have an injury post-All-Star break. But, he is a really fun player to watch on the Minnesota Twins. He's got that swagger and that, aura. He may not be Kirby Puckett, but again, as far as, a player that, you can get kind of excited about, besides maybe like Joe Mauer, that, obviously hasn't been on the team for quite some time, but, it's been a minute, for the Twins to be able to have some big name guys. And I'm really happy that Bucks was able to, be healthy this year and make the All-Star, game and represent the home run derby. What a deep one there. But again, I think that they should have rewarded him and started. But the problem is that a lot of other fans outside of the Twins, they don't know who he is, or they haven't heard enough about him. Look at that. Look at Bucks getting hot, baby. 20. Trying to catch up to Junior Caminero, and he might beat them. Crazy, huh? 2 more outs to go, and he needs 1 to tie for O'Neal Cruz and Junior Caminero. I don't know if anyone had Bucks, in the 20 and above category in the first round, but look at that. Josh in the building. What's good? Big Dumper is second to last. So we have Buxton up, and then we have 3 after that. Jazz Chisholm is next. Then we're going to have Big Dumper Cal Raleigh second to last. And then the hometown kid, Matt Olson, dead last in the first round. And Buxton in third place. And let's be real, I think most people had Buxton getting 14 to 19 or 14 to 18. For him to overachieve and to get to 20, hitting 1.466, that's big. But again, if you would have switched places with James Wood, if Buxton would have went first, maybe he would have had a 14, and maybe Wood would be at 20. So you're definitely at a huge disadvantage when you go first in the Derby, no matter what year it is. And also with James Wood being the first guy, it felt like, those first 5 to 10 swings, he wasn't really taking it serious. And it's like, you got to be able to put in all of the effort, on your swings. And it almost felt like, he was doing batting practice, not being in the home run derby. And you can't be so nonchalant, even if you're the first guy. And I think that was kind of the part of his downfall. He didn't really show body language wise that he was actually trying. Of course he's trying, but I don't think full effort was really given there. And once he got past the first maybe 5 or 10 pitches, then he got into a little bit of a rhythm. By that time though, it was too little too late. Absolutely. Of course Griffey won. Yeah, 3 times, my guy. 94, 98, 99, baby. All right, next up is Jazz Chisholm Jr. Yeah, he's actually the only 3-time winner. Let's see if Jazz, Jazz might be the guy that, doesn't get, to 14. And if that happens, that's what James Wood is looking for. But 3-time winner, Ken Griffey Jr., 94, 98, 99. We saw Pete Alonso win back-to-back. But it's not easy to be able to win a Derby. Yeah. But you're a little bit younger than me, too, so. And it all really depends on when you started watching and whatnot. Like, for me, I started watching when I was, 3 years old, so. I've been watching for 40 years. So, and obviously, if you're a Braves fan, you maybe didn't pay attention, as much back in that era compared to people, maybe like me and a few others. So, Yeah, but Griffey is really the standard, in the business. So, yeah. But I imagine I started watching sports and things sooner than you. Most people start watching, when they're, 7 or 8 or 9. It's not often that you get people watching when they're 3 or 4 or 5 to start off. So, let alone remember what you watched back then. So. Jazz is at 1, so right now this is good for James Wood because, again, he's a guy that's 6 foot and he does have power, but not ideally the individual that you probably want in the Derby. And if I'm being honest, I kind of hope that Jazz doesn't make it past Wood because I want to see Wood in the second round. But again, we'll see how the rest of the numbers stack up. Even if Jazz chokes, Wood might still not be able to go in advance, since his number was so low. But Jazz is choking right now with 1 and he's pacing for like 8. So again, sometimes when you are a little bit too cocky and too overconfident and whatnot, sometimes this happens. And again, you could be a great hitter, you can be a great home run hitter in a game, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to be good in the home run derby. And unfortunately, I think Jazz's ego has got the best of him, thinking that he was going to, advance and make it far. You're 6 foot, you got a great swing. You might be able to homer more than a guy like D. Gordon or J.P. Crawford, based off your body size. But this is not really an event for a guy that's 6 foot. You want to have guys that are a little bit taller, that have a little bit more boom in the bat. So. And again, that's why, and this isn't the first time that we've seen, people choke and whatnot, and again, a lot of times when you see people interview prior to the event, and the more cocky and the more arrogant they are, typically the shittier they do. And if you actually watch Jazz in some of the interviews, a kind of, ego through the roof, and whatnot. And again, good for him for being in the, all-star festivities. And again, he's always kind of been that way, a little immature, like when he was on the Marlins and, had to, try to mature a little, based on Aaron Judge and the rest of the individuals there trying to, put him in check to a certain degree. But, again, if you end up, being that way and a little egotistical and a little selfish and maybe not the most likable, then sometimes you get a harsh reality where you get slapped in the mouth and you're sitting at a fucking 2. And you're not even going to get to 10. So, yeah, Cal can change at any point, but it has to be within the round. So he'll have the first round, then a break, so he can go left, and then have the break, go right, and then he'll have the final 4 outs where he can go back to left or right. And we've never had a switch hitter win, let alone catcher. So if Cal ends up winning the Derby over a guy like O'Neal Cruz or Junior Caminero, it'll be the first time in home run Derby history that we've had a catcher and a switch hitter. And we already know about the multi-home run games and beating Mickey Mantle and potentially beating Judge and maybe getting 66 to 70 home runs if he stays on fire. He's at 38. But Jazz Chisholm Jr. at 3. I don't know. It kind of makes me happy. They swept us. I know Jazz is a great player. I've never really been a Jazz fan. I recognize that he's an athlete. But again, I think his attitude stinks. And, sometimes, you have to have that confidence, but there's a fine line between being confident, and being a good player and being a good person and a good team player, or, being cocky and arrogant and just thinking that you're the best thing since sliced bread. I think he's a good player and he's made a difference for the Yankees, even though in the playoff run, he kind of shit the bed. He was good in the regular season. And when the playoffs came around, especially in the World Series, kind of choked, didn't really do as much as they needed him to do. But again, this doesn't hurt my feelings being a Mariner fan, seeing a Yankee player choke, and they should have had Aaron Judge in the contest. Hell, even Giancarlo Stanton would have done better than Jazz Chisholm. So. Yeah, top 4 advance. This is embarrassing. And again, you typically have, one guy in the Derby that embarrasses. especially if it's his first time and whatnot. It makes you kind of wonder if Jazz would have went first, what would he be at right now? 1, And maybe this will be a little bit of an ego thing where he can look in the mirror and be like, he's still going to be the same way. But maybe, maybe try to be a little bit more humble, my guy. Be a little bit more Kendrick Lamar. Because everyone else putting up 17, 20, 21, and your little bitch ass put up a 3. Come on, my guy. Embarrassing. But again, if you watched him interview, he was kind of acting like, he was going to go far in the event and whatnot, But one thing is for sure, you're never going to see Jazz Chisholm Jr. in a derby ever again. Let alone, you don't want to embarrass your team, your family, your organization, so that'll probably be the last time that we see someone like that. And normally in the past, when someone shits the bed, they almost get to 10. It's like 8, 9, or 10. So this is actually one of the worst performances. But what did they think? They ended up bringing a guy that's fucking 6 foot. He might be able to homer more than D. Gordon or J.P. Crawford as like a, leadoff hitter, even though he doesn't typically lead off. He can bat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But this wasn't really the ideal guy. Giancarlo Stanton would have done better. Aaron Judge would have done better. Hell, Cody Bellinger and, a few others on the team would have been able to probably do better as well. So. Yeah. But again, it's not only about the player, it's about who's pitching to them, and that's really where it comes down to. All right, baby, here we go. I'm going to be in the home run derby. Look at that. My guy. Let's go. Let's go, Cal. And we have to see, are you going to go from the left? Are you going to go from the right? Let's go, Cal. And I've been waiting for this for a long, long time. Let's go, Dumper. And I don't want, Cal might start off a little slow, and again, remember, he's got his dad, pitching, and he's got his brother who's 15 catching. So it's a family affair, and I believe it's the only player that is doing this. And I love father-son combos. So for that just simple reason, not just being a Seattle Mariner fan, I hope that he advances. If he doesn't win it, so be it. If it ends up being like O'Neal Cruz or Junior Caminero, then they're going to deserve it. But I'm really hoping that Cal will mash the fuck out of this baseball and hopefully have some long bombs like O'Neal Cruz did. And if I could have my dream final, it would be Big Dumper versus O'Neal Cruz. I think that would be the, what everyone would want to see. Based on what we've seen in the regular season, exit velo, 4 out of the top 5 or 5 out of the top 6 this year for O'Neal Cruz. And we know, this isn't really about Cal. It's going to be about his dad. Can his dad pitch fast enough and right down the middle in the sweet spot consistently? And if he does, Cal will mash the fuck out of the baseball. If Cal's dad is off, we might end up seeing, 15 or less from Cal Raleigh. And let's hope for more than 15. Let's go. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if Cal ends up kind of choking his first time in the home run derby. And he has to, get into the rhythm. And there we go, home run number 1. At least he got a home run on a third one. You don't want to go like 7, 8 pitches without a homer. And Cal's swing is effortless like O'Neal Cruz. Now you just have to get into a rhythm where you hit 3 to 5 in a row twice. And if you can do that, that'll propel you from the 14 to 16 range to 17 to 21. And obviously, Cal's going to need to try to shoot for 20. Here we go, baby, 3. And Cal's actually doing a little bit better than I anticipated. I didn't really think he was going to choke, but I was a little nervous about dad, pitching. But, obviously his dad was his coach back in the day. And again, he hasn't pitched to him like this in a long time. But I know they've been practicing like a mofo. And let's see if Cal can get a little bit of rhythm here. Let's go, Dumper. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Moonshots, baby. Let's go. Crowd is getting into it, too. They recognize, what Cal Raleigh is all about. And it's great to have another face of baseball. We have Aaron Judge. We have Shohei Ohtani. And for the first time in years, we actually have someone that's on their level or doing things that they have never done. And when's the last time that we can say that? I don't think we ever have been able to say who's another guy that's on the level of Judge and Ohtani, and there hasn't been. Those guys are like the Mickey Mantle and the Willie Mays of this generation, and it's really cool that we have Cal. And right now he's sitting at 8. He went left, and I'm curious to see if he goes right. We had Adley Rutschman as a switch hitter, 20 left-handed there as they bring that up on the screen. You got all the other Mariner players out there, Wu and Randy and Munoz. I fucking love it. Let's go, baby. And we can go right-handed, right? We can do that. We can go left-handed. It don't matter, baby. But we're looking for tridents up, baby. Let's go. Bring that electricity. We got to be like Ken Griffey Jr., winning it 3 times. We got to represent for Seattle. Let's go. We're in Atlanta. Truist Park. Come on, Cal. All right, now he's going right-handed. Come on, baby. "56 homers for Ken Griffey Jr. Cal's at 38. And there's a good chance that Cal gets to 60 or more this season. Come on, Cal. His dad is pitching him inside, and he's jamming him. There we go. That one should go. Back, back, back. See ya. All right, he's at 9. Get into a rhythm, Cal. We need like 4 in a row. 3 to 5 in a row. But again, when he's pitching to him right-handed, he's pitching him a little inside. Not the same type of rhythm here. Oh, just carried over into the first row. There we go, Cal. That could be the difference between getting eliminated or not. There we go. Keep it going. Starting to slow down a little bit. Come on, Cal. He's at 11. And I assume he'll go back to the left side, on the last 4 outs for like the money ball stuff. Yeah, but his dad is jamming him from the right side, not get very good pitches. I mean, he's still able to hit some home runs here, and he's pulling the baseball, but here we go. Nice little rally here. Here we go. 14, baby. One more. And jammed him. 15, not bad. Not bad. A little bit better than I thought he was going to do. I just, had a kind of a fear that he might, get jammed up by his dad a little bit there. And I think going left would be the best chance for him to get to 20 or 21. Yeah, we saw Adley Rutschman go left and right. And, if you hop in streams here a little bit more often, I think we talk about it pretty often. And again, we've never had a switch hitter win. We've never had a catcher win in the Derby. And it's just nice to be able to get this exposure, for not only the Seattle Mariners, but for Cal Raleigh himself, that there's another guy out there that's on the same level as Judge and Ohtani, even though those guys have been the face of baseball for such a long time. And I don't think this is a flash in the pan and this is like a special year by Cal and then he ends up, fading away and we never hear about him again. I think that this is going to be something that you see from Cal Raleigh on a consistent basis for the rest of his career. As long as he doesn't have any major injuries, he is the real deal. We had Yogi Berra, we had Johnny Bench, we had Pudge Rodriguez, we had Mike Piazza, we had Buster Posey, and now we have Cal Raleigh. And Cal might end up being the best catcher of all time when it's all said and done if he can play for 15 or 20 years injury-free and be consistent. And again, he'll go back to the left side here, which is smart. I figured he would go left, right, left, and hopefully he can get on fire here. He's going to need it. If not, he's going to finish with 18 or 19. But if he gets on fire, there's a chance he can hit 20 or 21, but it's going to be tough since he's at 15. You got to be really selective with these pitches from his dad. And he's got his brother who's 15 catching, so it's a family affair. But if he doesn't connect, and get on fire, he might finish with 17. Come on, Cal. And you got Matt Olson, obviously, is the last individual. Not far enough. I got the fuck out of that one. Back. See ya. Anybody else miss Chris Berman doing the All-Star game festivities? Here we go. See ya. I miss me some Chris Berman and Tom Jackson for NFL and Berman for MLB. 17. And there it is. One more after that. Or is that it right there? Was that the last one? 17? Berman gave you the passion and the excitement, and him and Tom Jackson were so good, at what they did. And, you start to see all these shows on ESPN and FS1, with terrible people on the mic, and then obviously them getting some of their shows canceled today, like Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho and fucking Shady McCoy. Those guys are all fucking terrible. Like, who the hell goes out of their way to watch those fucking shows? Nobody, And again, I just feel like, these pro athletes, whether they're playing or retired, I know they want to get their bag, but just because you were a former player doesn't mean you're going to be a good talker on the mic and you're going to be a good host. And it just seems like everyone and their mama, has a fucking podcast now. And, again, a lot of them that do sports are not good. Again, it's kind of sad. And I think that you actually get better content on YouTube than you actually do, even on TV, like even Good Morning Football and Pat McAfee show. Those were really the only two shows I used to watch regularly. And I don't even watch those shows really anymore. Again, it's not the same. It's not the same without Nate. It's not the same without Kay Adams. It just isn't. And obviously, with the Pat McAfee show, going to ESPN and not really being as authentic anymore, it's like you're making money and I get it, but again, it's not the same raw, unfiltered, show that we loved prior to him getting that money. And here we go. Last but not least, Matt Olson. Should have been Ronald Acuna Jr., but had some tightness and stiffness in the back. And they got the hometown kid, Matt Olson, here as the last participant. Anna in the building. What's good? And obviously, Jazz shitting the bed. That was the guy that I predicted that would probably be the guy most likely to. Just based off his attitude, his height, and arrogance, and it happened. Again, but if Jazz Chisholm was 6'5", he probably wouldn't have finished with a shit number like he did. But again, that's something that they need to address. You definitely need to have more power hitters. Even though Jazz has a lot of power for being 6 foot, that's not really an ideal guy to have in the Derby. Goldschmidt would have been better, right? Bellinger would have been better. And of course, Giancarlo and Judge, those would have been better choices. Like Jazz would have been like the, 5th or 6th guy, But again, he won't be in the contest ever again after what happened here today. And Olson behind the 8 ball here. Natman, where's your boy? You don't want your boy to be worse than Jazz. I mean, better than what Jazz did if you haven't been watching the Derby. I mean, unless you think getting under 10 is good. There we go, Olson. See ya! But to get your first home run with only 29 pitches left, not good. Almost pacing to a similar number as Jazz Chisholm Jr. Let's see if he can get hot, though, and get past at least double digits. And that last one stays in the park. He's sitting at 4, probably a little nervous, being the last guy. And again, it would have been better if we would have had Ronald Acuna Jr. That's more of like a Julio Rodriguez type of player where you're going to be able to get the distance and the follow through and the home runs. Not to say that Matt Olson can't homer, he can, but he's not the most ideal home run derby contestant like Jazz Chisholm. There's a certain type of body frame and follow through swing that you're looking for. And, some guys will overachieve and put up a big number. Other guys will slightly underachieve. But again, there's a lot of factors. Also, it really depends on who throws to you. And if you have a good thrower, a good pitcher, that could be the difference, regardless if you're 6 foot or 6'7" like O'Neal Cruz. Hell yeah, Cal advances, baby. Hell yeah. So they just announced that Raleigh just barely, based off distance, edged out Rooker. Thank God, because it really wasn't the, best performance. We know Cal can get 20 or more in a round like Julio, but ooh, what a deep homer there by Olson. Here we go. Now he's getting into a little bit of a rhythm, but will it be too little, too late? And it's cool to be able to see people swing from the right and the left. When you watch people swing from the left, it looks so nonchalant and it looks so smooth and effortless. But, again, you have to hit it on the sweet spot. Otherwise, it's not going to go out of the park. Like, I feel like you get the righties that give you the power swings, and it's like they use all of their arms and their body, and you can kind of feel it. With the lefties, it can be deceiving. You can see them hit the ball, and, it almost feels like it's not going to be a homer until they pan to the crowd, and it's in, like, the 5th row. Oh, here we go, Olson. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And again, you got to hit 3 to 5 in a row once or twice. And now he's in that rhythm. He's feeding off the crowd now. Nice job by Matt. He definitely could have had a fucking meltdown like Jazz did, and he got out of it. But again, if this was in New York, maybe Jazz would have been able to pull himself out of the rut that he was in. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, my. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is Matt going to win this? Is he going to get to 22? Wow. For a guy to start off so fucking slow and then to rip it up there at the end, nice job. Nice job. Yeah, we haven't seen too many guys. They just mentioned we've only had 3 guys to win in their home crowd. Look at the follow-through swing and the power. And again, it's kind of deceptive because when you watch Olson swing, it doesn't it's going to be a home run. It's kind of a nonchalant swing, but it's got the power because he's hitting it right on the sweet spot. And again, it doesn't really look like a violent swing. But again, sometimes as lefties, it's pure, right? Like Ken Griffey Jr. And some swings were a little bit more aggressive and vicious, than others, where you could feel that ball going 300, 400, 500 feet. But again, when lefties connect, it can be one of those special things in baseball. And we've had quite a few lefties in this derby. And the chop is coming out. 62 likes. We need 38 more to hit the goal. And we're at 5 on the dono train. 95 to go. Show some love for your boy. Eddie Perez. Well, Eddie did a great job. Again, because it's not just about the batter in the box. I think it's more important to have a good pitcher. Really, that's the most important thing. Someone that's going to have good rhythm, with the player and pitch it right in the sweet spot consistently. And again, you can't jam the hitter. You can't have it high and away, low and away. It's got to be as close to that, middle of the strike zone as possible. Back, back, back. Oh, still stuck at 15 here. Two outs to go. Oh, last out. And it's like, I want Olsen to do good, but again, I want Cal Raleigh to make it to the next round. There we go. And he did not, Bob. So he got eliminated. So Jazz with 3, absolutely terrible, eliminated. Wood went first, and I honestly think if Wood would have went second, to 8th, that he probably would have advanced. I think that he would have been able to get at least 17, in my opinion, maybe even 18, 19, or 20. And so, obviously, O'Neal Cruz with 21. Junior Caminero tied with 21, as John mentioned. Buxton with 20. So you got 3 guys with 20 or more. And then it was a tiebreaker between Cal Raleigh and Rooker at 17. And it was based on home run distance. And Cal's homer was longer than Rooker's. So Cal advances. And let's be real. If we could have a choice between Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, or Brent Rooker, I think probably 99% of the world, besides Brent Rooker's family, are probably saying, yeah, I'd rather see Cal in the next round. So we got Cruz, Caminero, Buxton, and Big Dumper. I love it. I think all those guys were the ones that I thought would have a chance. And again, the only person that I thought that, kind of got the raw end of the stick was Wood. I think Wood could have, gotten there, but then if Wood gets there, maybe Raleigh doesn't. Maybe Wood gets 18 and Raleigh's eliminated. But Buxton is the only guy that did quite a bit better than anyone anticipated. I think that most people thought, Cruz, Caminero, and Wood, would have the exit below and they would have a pretty good chance. And so we're going to have Cruz, Caminero, Buxton, and Raleigh. Rooker, Olsen, Wood, and Jazz eliminated. Wow, look how close it was. Holy moly. But again, Cal is going to be, giving us a little bit more excitement. All right, O'Neal Cruz has got to be the favorite. 6'7", 215. He's got like 5 of the top 6 exit velos this year. So that this guy can hit like a 500-foot home run. And he's got to be the favorite in, the Final 4 here. Junior Caminero actually did quite a bit better than anyone anticipated. Just like Byron Buxton, they both hit over 20. And then obviously the last spot, Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. And now he'll have to maybe come to a decision, if he wants to be able to make the final. Are you going to go all left and just eliminate the right-hand side? Because again, it looks like the left side is going to be the strong side, which obviously it is. We know he can homer from the right side as well. But again, it just seemed like when his dad was pitching him to the right side, he was jamming him a little bit. So if that's the case, I think he should be left the whole way through. He already showed that he hit from the right, but I think if he would have hit left only, he would have hit 20. I think that would have been, 2021, something like what O'Neal Cruz and Junior Caminero and Buxton did. But again, I think going right, he missed out on a couple home runs there, based on the swings and getting jammed by his dad. So I think if Cal is serious of winning, I think if he goes left the rest of the way, I think he'll have a chance. But if he ends up going left and right, he might not even make it to the championship, based on how good Caminero, Buxton, and obviously O'Neal Cruz have been heating up. So all the beats are from my boy Brooks Beats, and we've gained quite a few subs here. Wow. We only need 4 more to go. And again, we've been gaining about 5 to 15 every stream. We might actually hit 21,000 here tonight. Just a couple minutes ago, we needed 11. Now we only need 4. So shout out to all of the individuals in the room. If you want to be able to help us hit a monumental number, smash the like button for your boy to help us get to 100 likes. If you feel inclined to, you can always send a dono this way through Cash App, Venmo, or the Super Chat. But most importantly, if we can get 4 more subs and get it to 21,000, that would be great. We just got 2 more. We're 2 subs away. We got 110 people in the room. We should be able to hit that number. So, and again, I will be doing the All-Star game tomorrow as well. And I am your main source for the Seattle Mariners, the Oregon Ducks, the NFL, college football, NHL, MLB, NBA, NASCAR, WWE, AEW, and more. There's not really anything that we don't do, here on the channel. But most people are going to know me for Seattle Mariners, MLB, Oregon Ducks, and NFL. And again, 2 subs away from 21,000. Let's fucking go. I want Cal and Cruz in the final, but I don't know how the bracket is going to match up. So. Cal Raleigh, obviously in 4th. Buxton with 20 in 3rd. And then Junior Caminero and Oneil Cruz tied for 1st with 21. So, again, and I think if Cal wants to win it, he's got to go from the left only. If he goes left and right, I don't think he has any chance of winning. I just the way that his dad was pitching him. Again, if you want to have the best chance, he's got to go left the whole way. The rest of the turning, the rest of the derby, he's got to go left only. But I don't know if he'll do that. I think that he's going to probably go left and right, but who knows? We'll see. But Cal has to go against Oneil Cruz. That's brutal. And then Buxton and Caminero. Why can't it be Cal versus Buxton and Caminero versus Cruz? Why don't we flip those? Cal versus Buxton or Cal versus Caminero. That would be more fair. Why does Cal got to go against fucking Oneil Cruz? Is it like 1 versus 4? Or is that how they're doing it? And then 2 versus 3? I guess that's how they're doing it. So that's unfortunate that Cal has to go against Oneil Cruz. That's going to be tough. You almost have to pray that Oneil Cruz chokes at some point. And then obviously with Buxton and Caminero, that's, right down the middle. It could go literally either way. And, one guy hit 20, the other hit 21. So I don't know if there's really a favorite between the two. Yeah, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. I just really would have loved Cal to match up against, Buxton or Caminero. But I will say this, if Cal beats, Oneil Cruz, he might win it all, at that point. But it all depends on if he goes left, right, left, or stays left the rest of the way. And also depending on his dad, pitching right down the middle or not. But man, that's going to be a tough battle to try to beat the most favored guy, even though Cal was, on the money line going in. But again, I think most of us that know baseball, Oneil Cruz was the guy that was the most likely to win this, based on his exit velo. And I'm a big Cal Raleigh fan. I got his jersey on right now. I'm a big Seattle fan. I've been a Seattle fan for 40 years, but based on this type of, derby, Oneil Cruz has got to be the favorite. But again, all you need is a little bit of a slip up and another guy to get hot, and we'll see where it goes. Now we got Byron Buxton going against Junior Caminero here. And we'll see what Bucks can do here. We have a pretty good record against them the last few years and whatnot. I believe we're 5-5, so it's like lately. So I think we're going to have a good chance. We're going to be at home. We got swept by the Yankees, and we ended up sweeping the Tigers, in their field. They're in Detroit and scoring 35 in 3 games, which is insane. And then we're going to have a 3-game set against the Stros. So and it'll be at T-Mobile, so I like our chances. And again, we'll see who has the endurance, because obviously fatigue is going to be a big part of who wins and who doesn't. After a while, once you get to that second round and the championship, a lot of times these guys are gassed, especially if you're not doing PEDs or steroids and you're not associated to Balco like Barry Bonds. For the guys that are on steroids, hell, they could probably go 6 rounds, because obviously they're juiced up. But for everyone that's playing right now, there's no PEDs, there's no steroids. No matter how much Gatorade you drink, you're going to get fatigued. And we'll see who has got the best endurance here late between the last 4. Buxton, Caminero, and then Oneil Cruz and Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. Yeah, Cal barely made it, though. If he didn't have enough distance on that home run, right? Again, he wouldn't have hit. He wouldn't have hit the number that he needed. Look at this number right here that John brought up. Cal barely won on the tiebreaker. He could have done a swing off. He won by 0.08? So it was that close from Rooker eliminating Cal Raleigh. So nice to be able to see Big Dumper make it at least a round. But again, it's going to be tough. But I will say this. If Cal does beat Oneil Cruz, he might be able to win it all. But again, it will have to come down to strategy. Left side, right side, left side, all left. he's not going to do all right. That's for sure, because obviously that's his offhand. But he's just as good with the right as the left. There really isn't that much of a drop off. And you're starting to see Buxton get tired here. And he definitely has hit a wall. Gave everything that he had in that first round, and hitting a Jazz Chisholm Jr. kind of number here early, sitting at 4. Yeah, but we also have to understand, Cody, how good the Astros are. You know, they're our number one rival. And, you know, even when they don't have Kyle Tucker, who's on the Cubs, they don't have Bregman, who's on the Red Sox. And Yordan Alvarez has been hurt almost the whole year with his wrist, right? And then Pena just got hurt. So it's pretty much Jose Altuve with a bunch of others, and they're still dominating. So, again, it shows, like, how good that team is. And it's kind of sad that they had to cheat to win, you know, the World Series and whatnot, because they were good enough to win it without cheating. And I think that's what makes people so upset. You know, it's like when you're elite and you don't even need to cheat, and you could have made a legacy, and there's no asterisk by your name, but you guys got greedy, and now everyone is going to, you know, put you in the same category as a cheater as a lot of other athletes and whatnot. You know, it's kind of a damn shame, you know, but I do love the rivalry. It's my favorite rivalry, you know, for the Mariners. I like the Astros, the Rangers, Athletics, Angels, and even though the Yankees swept us, I like playing the Yankees because it brings out the best in us. We play up to the competition, not play down. And again, the way the Mariners have been playing, you know, even though the Astros and the Blue Jays and the Yankees and the Tigers have a better record, if we get hot, you know, we can beat anybody. And again, obviously in the National League, they got a lot of depth there, right? You got the Phillies, you got the Mets, right? You got the Cubs, you got the Brewers, you got the Cardinals, right? You got the Dodgers, you got the Giants, you got the Padres. So there's a lot of competitive juices flowing on both sides. And let's see if Buxton can get some of the energy back here, because right now, not in a good spot. Like Junior Caminero might be able to win blindfolded with a number this low. But you can definitely tell fatigue hit Buxton. And that's why, you know, when you saw, you know, guys like Pete Alonso, Ken Griffey Jr., even Julio Rodriguez, when he did it, it's like in the home run derby, in the past rules, it's like we expect each guy to hit 20 to 30 home runs in every round, and he can keep doing it. And you start to realize how hard this event really is, you know, and it really does take a special player to be, you know, in good, you know, spirits, mind and body. You have to have good endurance. You have to have a good follow-through swing, and you have to have a good pitcher. There's a lot of X factors that may not be, you know, the norm for people that are watching this event. And, you know, Buxton going for 20 in round 1 and shitting the bed for 7, not ideal. Why couldn't have Cal went against that? Then we could have got Cal and O'Neal Cruz in the championship, baby. It almost makes me feel like we're watching the AFC-NFC championship game, where usually that's better than the Super Bowl. That's what you did with O'Neal Cruz and Cal Raleigh. That's like watching the Lions and the Eagles, or the Eagles and the Commandos, you know, going against each other for the NFC championship game, which might end up being better. But I think Junior Caminero, he'll definitely end up beating, you know, Buxton, and he'll advance, and he will have a chance to win it all. Junior definitely has some good exit velo, but we'll see how this goes here. We'll see if Junior has more endurance, and I would say it's almost 100% guaranteed Caminero advances over Buxton. There's no way in hell he's going to get under 7. Let him know. And we've got some good numbers here as well. We're already at over 15,000 people in the stream. Shout out to everyone watching. Appreciate you guys very, very much. All right, Junior. And again, you know, we're so spoiled, you know, from the Sosa, McGuire, Bonds, Griffey, Julio Rodriguez, Polar Bear, Pete Alonso, where it's like, oh, 20, 30, 20, and then you just expect them to do it, and then you watch it in another year, and then you see guys struggle, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? But again, if we actually have better players participating, Judge, Ohtani, those would be guys that could put up, you know, Bonds, McGuire, Sosa-like numbers without steroids. You know, And it's like almost like we need those guys to be in the Derby, Ohtani and Judge. Like in the dunk contest when we have like Jordan and Dominique, it's like you need the best of the best, you know, to be able to participate. Here, Junior Caminero getting a little bit in sync there. He's already at 7. Bye-bye, Buxton. Yeah, there's no point of doing all of your swings, right, if you ended up winning. So Junior is going to be at a good advantage in the final because obviously he didn't have to go through that whole process. So his arms are going to be, you know, obviously a little bit looser. And I don't know if he'll be favored over O'Neal Cruz or Cal Raleigh. But again, nice job by Junior Caminero on making the final. And again, it's kind of cool when you get a guy that is not well known. Like out of all the players at the Derby, he's the least well known out of everyone. So it's kind of cool to be able to see a guy that not many people knew who he was. After this Derby, everyone will remember him, even if he ends up getting second in the Derby. So not every person is going to be a Tampa Bay Ray fan. So yes, by 1 inch. This was the numbers right here, AM. 470.61 to 470.53. All right, we're at 20,999. We need one more sub to get to 21,000. Can we get it here? I mean, we got 115 people in the room. We have over 15,000 people that have been tuning in so far. We might hit 20,000 on this stream. Let's go. 70 likes. We should be able to hit a hundo. And we've gained about 15 subs already. So let's go, baby. 1 or 2 more subs to hit that 21,000 number. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, please do. If you haven't subbed to the channel yet, please do. Help us get over 21,000 before this Derby is over. And again, we've been on a good fanatic pace. We've been getting about 5 to 15 every day for a minute now. We're 1 away. 20,999, baby. So Junior Caminero ended up eliminating Buxton, who had an embarrassing second round. Not as bad as Jazz Chisholm Jr. Obviously, that was not the way that the Yankees want to be represented in the home run derby, but we won't see Jazz in the event ever again. Buxton did great, 20 home runs in round 1 to advance, but kind of shit the bed there. And, Junior didn't have to complete the whole first round, only had to go for about half of the time and ended up advancing with 8 when Buxton had 7. And then we're down to the final 2. And whoever wins between Raleigh and O'Neal Cruz will end up facing Junior Caminero in the final. And I don't know if Cal can do it. I mean, this is going to be really hard. It's like you're going to have to pray that O'Neal shits the bed, and I'm not sure if he will. This is definitely kind of feels like the NFC Championship game or AFC Championship game where this might end up being even bigger than the final. But, Junior obviously has the ability to get to 20. O'Neal Cruz does. Cal got to 17. He might not be as good at this as Julio was when he made it, early in his career, but you never know. But again, we've never had a catcher and we've never had a switch hitter win. So Cal making history, and hopefully we can find a way. 20,999. Who's going to be that one person that subs to get us to 21,000? And it's been a grind, man. I've been really working hard to try to get to that number. And then obviously the next goal will be 22,000, then 23, 24, 25, then 50, then 75. And then even if it takes me 10 or fucking 20 years, the end goal, the end game is 100,000. And I know that might take a long time, but obviously I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. So, all right, baby, let's go. 2025 MLB Home Run Derby, sponsored by T-Mobile and ESPN. Let's go. Let's go, Cal. We need that electricity from the right side, from the left side, and we need to channel in your Florida State Seminole big thumper, big dumper vibes. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Back when Big Dumper was Little Dumper or Medium Dumper, but still was getting it done. Let's go, baby. All the way from Florida State to a TV near you. Let's go. Right side, left side, strong side, tridents up. Let's go. Let's go, Cal. No way it does. Let's go. Well, with the amount of people that we've had in the stream, I mean, we're already at 15,000 plus. And again, with usually 100 to 200 people in the room, you would assume that we would hit the number. Yeah, there we go. Thank you to all the individuals that have been supporting me on this channel. We're at 21,002. Let's go. Hell yeah. Thank you, guys. It really does mean a lot. I've been putting in my blood, sweat, and tears into this channel. I've been doing this for 13 years. Next year will be 14 years. It's my 9th year on YouTube. But next year will be 10 years on YouTube. And I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at today without people like you guys in the room supporting with likes and subs and views and donos and shares. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And this is only the beginning. And we have a long ways to go. But I try to make, sports and wrestling fun, giving you a little bit something different than what you normally expect when you go to a YouTube channel for sports, which is typically a lot of haters, a lot of bias, and a lot of bullshit. You're not going to get that here. We appreciate greatness, regardless if it's on the Mariners or the opposing team. And here we go, baby. Let's go, Cal. Let's go. Thank you so much. Thank you. There we go. Cal with a homer on the first pitch, baby. And he's swinging from the left. He's crushing it, baby. Let's go, Cal. Look at the start for Cal Raleigh. Look at the start for Cal. 3 home runs on the first 3 pitches. Let's go. He's in the zone, baby. 4. Let's go. Let's go. And then finally hits a grounder there. Wow, great start for Cal. I mean, if he can get to 20 to 25, obviously putting the pressure on O'Neal Cruz, he might be able to win it all. Woo! Oh my, he's hot. And again, we haven't seen too many guys get in the zone. O'Neal Cruz had a little moment. Junior Caminero had a little bit of a moment. Buxton in the first round. But this is a much better start for Big Dumper in the second round. Woo, baby! Let's go. Let's go, Cal. Yeah, I mean, especially me. I mean, I may look young to some people and whatnot, but I'm 43. So, I mean, I've been watching since I was pretty much 3. So I've been, watching sports and wrestling for 40 years roughly. And, even though some people think I might be in my 30s or late 20s, it's, a great compliment. I mean, obviously I'm walking 5 miles a day, 7 days a week for the last 2 years with my dog, with my pup. And obviously that definitely helps when you eat healthy, you exercise a lot, take care of yourself, and obviously cut back on the booze, and eat a little bit healthier. It really does make a difference. Man, Cal with a great start, baby. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Cal. Griffey there. And it's crazy because, again, for a lot of us Mariner fans, we thought, oh, Julio Rodriguez, that's going to be the next Ken Griffey Jr. We probably didn't assume it would be a catcher in Cal Raleigh. But again, Julio has gotten really hot lately, and we've been getting great production out of Randy Arozarena, Andres Munoz, Brian Wu. And again, it felt really good to finish strong, winning 3 games in a row at Detroit with the best record in baseball and putting up 35 runs. Pretty special. Cal at 10. Let's go, baby. Yeah, about 40 years, believe it or not. Good job, Cal. Keep going, baby. I mean, I ended up meeting Ken Griffey Jr. when I was 7 years old. I was the only one at my school that ever met, any like big famous professional athlete. And I met him in his rookie year when I was 7. And again, it changed my life forever. When you end up meeting Ken Griffey Jr. when you're 7 years old, right? And then you end up getting his autograph, which he took the time to spell Ken Griffey Jr. A lot of autographs that you see nowadays, they're lazy, right? Where it's just like their initials, like LeBron James, LJ23. I'd be fucking pissed as a little kid if Ken Griffey Jr. would have went like KG, or KGJ and then just left it like that. Like it really meant the world to me that he took the time to talk to me, take a photo with me. His dad was there as well. And, to actually, show that you care. And obviously, I've been a Griffey guy my whole life, and I always will be. So, all right, next at bat resumes here in a few seconds. And then I was lucky enough at 10 to meet Sandy Koufax, which is arguably the best left-handed pitcher of all time, not named Randy Johnson, the big unit, or Steve Carlton from the Phillies. And again, my dad grew up in Hawaii and in LA when he was young, and has been a Dodger fan since the 50s, back in the Koufax Drysdale era. So again, my dad is like myself too. He's one of the only people that I know that actually watches every single game, pretty much beginning to end, like myself. And that takes a lot of dedication since you have the most games out of any, sport, 162 regular season games on top of playoffs. And obviously my dad has been able to enjoy more playoff and World Series victories than the Mariners. We're the only team to not make a World Series, let alone win one. But I do believe with this roster and the way that they're moving forward in the next 10 to 20 years, there's a chance that we make an all-star, berth with more guys, as well as making a World Series, ALDS, ALCS, and finally winning it all. That's the end game goal. Cal's at 16 here, and hopefully he can get to at least 20. $21,000 pennies. $21 holla. Back, gone. Go, Cal, go. Let's go, baby. 18, baby. Let's get to 20. $21 dono by Flying Monk. 21,000 pennies. Let's go. We're at 26. 74 to go. 19. Get it, baby. Ah, shit. Just short there. Come on, Cal. Appreciate you. $21 dono by Flying Monk. Stacks. Rex. Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do for a photo, and I got you. And Cal at 19. That's solid. So O'Neal Cruz is going to have to hit 20 or more to win, and O'Neal can do it. Cruz has got like 5 out of the top 6 longest hit balls in MLB in 2025. Exit velo is like 1 billion, So again, you don't see too many guys that are built, like him and Ellie De La Cruz. And obviously O'Neal Cruz, 6'7", 215. So he's a little wiry for being 6'7", but he's got a lot of fucking power. There's so many amazing players, in every generation, but again, the thing that made meeting Ken Griffey Jr. special, for me is that he didn't cheat. Like, imagine if I would have met like Barry Bonds or Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, Rafael Palmeiro, and then found out that they cheated and did steroids or PEDs or were associated to Balco. I would have been crushed, you know. And Griffey had 10 years of healthy ball, 10 years of being injured. And if he would have played 15 years healthy, 5 injured, he would have had like 800 home runs and would have been number one and done it clean. And really that's what it comes down to, is doing it clean, doing it the right way, and being a good person on and off the field with no bullshit in between. And Ken Griffey Jr. did it, and Cal following in his footsteps as well. 17 in the first round, 19 in the second, but not like Julio Rodriguez from a few years ago, or Pete Alonso, or, you know, a few others, Oscar. You know, sometimes these guys can, you know, hit that crazy number, but again, they have been making some rule changes the last couple years. So I'm always going to be a Griffey guy. I got so many pieces of Griffey memorabilia. It's crazy. Jerseys, photos, autograph photos, bobbleheads. I have like literally every fucking starting lineup in the box still. Rookie cards, Upper Deck, Donruss, Fleer, Bowman, you know, you name it. Any random thing that is linked with the Mariners and Ken Griffey Jr., you know, I probably have it. So love me some Griffey. And again, you know, his dad was really cool too. I got a photo of me and Ken Griffey Sr. at that event as well. And, you know, it's crazy, even though that happened, you know, years ago when I was 7 in 1989, I almost feel like it was yesterday. Like, I can remember that day that I met both of them and got the autographs and the photos with my family. It definitely stuck with me. And again, if I didn't meet, you know, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sandy Koufax when I was 7 and 10, who knows? Maybe I'm not here today. Maybe I'm doing like, you know, streaming for video games instead or something. So it definitely changed me for the better. That's for sure. All right, let's see if O'Neal Cruz can make it to the final. And again, his wrist and that swing, when you watch him, you know, he makes it look so effortless at 6'7", 215. Like, I think a lot of times when you see him swing, almost like Matt Olson, it almost doesn't look like it's even going to homer. You know, it's like almost like, it's so smooth. It's like you don't even know if he's really trying. Like with Griffey, there'd be times where it would be the perfect swing, the smoothest swing in baseball ever. And sometimes it would look like it would homer and sometimes it wouldn't. But again, you know, there's not too many people that will have a swing smoother than Ken Griffey Jr. And, you know, you can ask fans of, you know, any team, you know, from Seattle all the way to Miami or New York. And that was a special era. And I will always, you know, have Griffey as my hero besides my dad. So it would be really cool to meet Griffey again, you know, obviously being older now and whatnot. But obviously I know he's so busy doing the professional photography, just like Randy Johnson as well. Cruz behind the 8 ball right now with only 5, but that doesn't mean that he can't get hot and win and get 3 to 5 homers in a row twice. And that's what's going to have to happen at some point. He's going to have to go on a rally here. But I'm really hoping that Cal can make it to the championship against Junior Caminero. We got to channel our inner Griffey, baby. Let's go. Little Griffey and Jay Buhner. Let's go, baby. And also what made Griffey so special is, you know, elite on offense and elite on defense. You know, you don't really see a lot of two-way players, you know, that are elite on both ends. You know, obviously we're hoping that, you know, Julio Rodriguez will end up being that at some point or another. So love that jersey. I got that jersey right there. Russell Athletic, 1997. O'Neal Cruz still sitting at 5, and it looks like fatigue is hitting him a little bit here. 6'7", 215, and I'm just hoping that, you know, even if he only wins by 1, hopefully he can get it done. But you can tell O'Neal Cruz is getting a little tired and fatigued. And again, that's going to be a factor. He's hitting a lot of line drives now, which is good for us Mariner and Cal Raleigh fans. but he's so good that he could get hot in any minute and hit like 7 in a row and then end up beating Cal. So fingers crossed, but we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I appreciate that, Flying Monk. Yeah, I have Venmo and I have Cash App, which we get obviously a higher percentage, which is almost identical. It's like 98, 99%. Through the super chat, it's like 65%, roughly like 60, 65, something like that. So definitely you end up getting more if you end up going that particular route. But if I'm being honest, any amount that anybody decides to support, it would be forever grateful. $10 for O'Neal Cruz. Got to update all my social media now. 21,000, baby. Yeah, I don't think Cal needs to really bat flip because he's not really that type of guy, He's so humble and whatnot. He doesn't really need to show off and whatnot. All right, O'Neal Cruz still sitting at 10. Crushed the fuck out of that one. Oh, my. That one feels good on the social medias for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter/X. 21,000 plus. Thank you guys, man. And hopefully we can get to 22,000, 23, 24, 25. It might take a while, but, I'm never quitting. I'm going to grind it out, baby. O'Neal Cruz sitting at 11. Looks like if everything goes the way that I think it'll go, Cal should advance against Junior Caminero. Yeah, we got quite a few Mariner fans. Again, I mean, I'm the main one. There's nobody else on YouTube that does every game, from beginning to end. And my goal every year is to do 150 to 155 out of 162. And if I'm going to miss one, it's only going to be because of a WWE pay-per-view or PLE like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. That'll be the only reason that we don't do a Mariner game if they're on at the same time. But other than that, there will be no reason, not to do the Mariner matchup. And again, there's some people that will try to do, some of the games, but, it's all about consistency. Yeah, Cal has had 3 torpedo bats custom made, or at least a minimum of 3, at least the photos that I saw. So, and a lot of guys are using the custom bats. O'Neal Cruz at 13. There we go. Cal advances over O'Neal Cruz. And again, O'Neal Cruz and just like some of the others like Byron Buxton, right? It shows you fatigue is real. You can come out of the gates and get 2021. But what are you going to do in that second round? And it also makes you understand how special Pete Alonso was, how special Ken Griffey Jr. was, to be able to hit, 20 or 30 in multiple rounds. You don't see it that often. And it shows you like how difficult it really is to hit 20 back to back to back. It's like really tough, and it's not going to be easy. So anytime you see guys go off like that for 20 or 30 in a round and they're able to do it for multiple rounds, you really have to appreciate it, because now watching the home run derby the last couple years, it's not the same. You're not really seeing guys do the same thing that those other guys did. So yeah, Ichiro definitely elite on offense and defense. Absolutely. I'm a big Ichiro guy too. All right, let's see where we're at now. 21,004. All right, so we're already on the next goal already. 96 subs to go to 22,000. Let's go, baby. Shout out to all the people in the room. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Appreciate you. Let's go. Jumper in the finals. And if he wins, he'll be the first catcher and the first switch hitter. And again, if I was him, all left. Nothing from the right-hand side. And not against anything on him, batting from the right side. It's the way his dad was pitching to him. If he ends up going from the right side, he could lose to Junior Caminero. If he stays left the whole run in the championship round, I think he has a good chance to win. So, and we're almost at 20,000 already. 19,600, and it's going up, up, and up. Let's go. Shout out to all the people that have liked, sub, donated, commented, shared. And this is definitely one of the highest streams that we've ever had on the channel. So, and again, we'll be doing the MLB All-Star Game tomorrow, and definitely excited about that. It'll be a little challenging, because I usually do photos of all the players, but, obviously we're going to have guys only playing like an inning. So then I'll have to try to pull up the photos kind of on the fly after the starters, but we should be able to manage, and hopefully it ends up being a fun, like 6-5 kind of game, but with all the dominant pitchers like Skubal and Skeens and Mizorowski and everyone else. It could end up being like a 3-2 game or 3-1 kind of game, but I'm hoping that we have a pitcher's duel, but then the game opens up for a few homers and a few RBIs. So. AL mostly always wins. Yeah, if you look at the lineup, though, the lineup card favors the National League this year, in my opinion. I feel like we'll see what happens with Skubal and Skeens. I mean, those guys are amazing. Skubal gets run support. Skeens doesn't. If Skeens was on Detroit, or if Skeens actually had some fucking players besides O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds, those aren't good enough, to be able to, get dubs. And I honestly think that Skeens' record would be probably right exactly where Skubal's is, winning, 10 games at the break and having a chance to almost get to 18, 19, or 20 when it's all said and done. So, but we'll see how it plays out tomorrow, based off the starting lineups and whatnot. All right, we gained another sub. Subs are coming in frantically. I love it. Now we only need 95 to go to hit 21,000. No, 22,000. $26 to hit our dono goal. Let's go, baby. 74 to go. Yeah, I stream every game. Like, if you go back and look at my content history, I'm a fucking madman when it comes to, doing this. I've been doing this for 13 years. This is my 9th year on YouTube. And again, I have over 2,500 live streams and uploads only since 2017. So it's like I've been streaming almost every day for years. So I work on my birthday, I work on Christmas, I work on Thanksgiving. There literally isn't a day that I don't work, and again, usually there's some, good stuff to be able to, stream and do commentary about, obviously on Thanksgiving and Christmas, whether it be, typically football and whatnot. So, all right, we got a final here. Junior Caminero from the Tampa Bay Rays versus Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. Let's go, baby. Bring that electricity. Let's go. Maybe I should have put Junior Caminero on the other side there on the thumb. But I didn't know that James Wood was going to be first. If I knew he was going to be first, I wouldn't have put him on the thumb. I would have probably went O'Neal Cruz or maybe Junior Caminero. But I do like James Wood as a player. He got the short end of the stick. So 21 and then 8, but he didn't. But the thing is Junior Caminero stopped, obviously, because, someone only had 7, right? Buxton. How many would have Junior Caminero gotten in that second round? Would he have gotten 17 to 20? Probably, based on his swings early on. So 17 probably minimum, 21 probably max. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Junior is rested, but can he get into the rhythm? And can we get Cal Raleigh, the first switch hitter and catcher, to win? We did have Adley Rushman as a switch hitter recently, but he did not win. Cal is in the championship, and hopefully he can get it done. But Junior definitely will be fresher, but we haven't seen Cal hit the fatigue like the other guys did. So we'll see if Cal can battle through. And you got to think, being a catcher is the hardest position in baseball. Squatting, for that long and being able to throw guys out and to be a switch hitter and to be a leader and making sure that all our pitchers, including the bullpen guys, don't have a fucking meltdown. And I think it would be so sweet if Cal could win this. And he's got his dad pitching and his brother who's 15 catching. No offense to Junior Caminero, but I'm going to root for a family affair. And, when you can have family involved, it makes it even more special, especially with his dad still being alive and his younger brother, looking up to the Big Dumper as well. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Left side the whole way through. Come on, Cal. Here we go, Cal. I'm telling you, if he goes left the whole way through, he's got a very good chance. If he goes left, right, left, I think Junior Caminero is going to win. But if he goes left the whole way, I think he'll win or have a very good chance. He's at 3, baby. Let's go. 4. Yeah, like I said, I'm a big Dale Earnhardt, junior guy, a big Dale Earnhardt guy. I'm a big Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott guy. And my number 1 is Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. And the reason I like father-dad combos is because it reminds me of me and my dad, and having that close bond, And again, I know some people, may not have their dads, still currently with them. But again, for anyone that does, if you have a, decent relationship with a mother or father or family member, it really is special. Not all families are created equal. Some people have tougher situations growing up in life than others. And, Cal definitely had a lot of support, from family. And it's really cool to be able to see his dad and his brother, who's 15 years old, is catching and dad is pitching. You don't have any other situation like that in the Derby besides Cal. And that could be one single reason that you root for him, let alone being the first catcher and first switch hitter possibly to be able to win the Derby, and being number 1 in home runs at 38, has a chance to pass Aaron Judge, who had 62, in 2022. And, it's great to be able to see someone other than Judge and Ohtani do something special in baseball. It's bringing more eyes to the sport, and that's awesome, because a lot of people that are haters, they just think baseball is boring. But again, if you have a connection, like I do, meeting Ken Griffey Jr., meeting Sandy Koufax, actually going to the games, getting foul balls by Julio Rodriguez, Aaron Judge, and, Kike Hernandez. I've been to like 10 games and I've gotten 3 baseballs. It definitely takes your fandom to another level. And, again, baseball, basketball, hockey, wrestling, they're not going to be for everyone. A NASCAR, it's kind of a niche sport. But if you do have a connection to it, it's really special. Come on, Cal. Cole with the tour. Here we go, Cal. 3 in a row. Keep it going, baby. Let's go, Big Dumper. Keep it going. Keep it flowing, baby. Cal at 10. Now he's starting to hit some line drives like O'Neal Cruz did. Come on now. Appreciate you, Cole. Yeah, we have the numbers here. John actually brought them up for us. Come on, Cal. Come on, Cal. Come on, Cal. Come on. Yes. Yes. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Cal looks the most refreshed out of anybody. But again, you have to have good discipline and good endurance being a catcher. Stacks, racks, jack, bang, bang. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Big dumper, Seminole thumper, baby. Let's go. Yes, sir, baby. From FSU all the way to Seattle, baby. Let's get it. Yeah, I mean, having a big butt and big legs definitely helps for sure. And it's about consistency, just like in any sport, right? And so far, Cal has been the most consistent out of anybody so far. But again, we don't really know how many Junior Caminero would have had if he would have, had a more competitive matchup with Buxton. I'm almost guaranteed that he would have had, 17 to 21 at the very least, probably 15 or 16. Since he was at 8, and they cut him off. Since Buxton only had 7, so. Hopefully Cal can get to as close to 20 here as possible, but even getting to 17 would be great. But obviously, the higher number, the better to put the pressure on Junior Caminero. All right, we're at 77. We need 23 more likes, 22 more likes to hit the goal. We're at 78. Let's go, baby. I mean, with the amount of people that we have in the room, we should be able to get there. If you've been watching but forgot to hit the like button, please do. We just need a couple of y'all to do it, and we'll hit the goal. And I imagine we have at least 50 or 60 people in the room that haven't done it yet. So if we can get a fraction, a third of those people that haven't done it yet to do it, we'll hit 100. Cal's at 16, baby. Come on. Come on, Papa Dumper. Come on, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Papa Raleigh. Get it right in there. Come on, Cal. Come on, Cal. Come on, Cal. Let's go. Yes, sir. Let him know. 17. And again, if he hits 1, 2, or 3 more, that could be the difference between winning and not winning. And I like it right here how Cal's being so patient with the last 4 outs. Let's go. 18, baby. That's a solid number. 18 is solid. Obviously, you want to get to 20, but if you're in that final round and you have 4 outs and you're at 15, hard to be able to get 5 home runs unless you hit 3 or 4 in a row with 4 outs to go. So for him to get, 3 home runs in the 4 outs is pretty good. And hopefully this will be just enough to win. Hopefully, Cal has 18, Caminero gets 17, Cal wins. We end up seeing a nice home run championship, unless Junior just shits the bed, but I don't think he will. I would assume that Junior will get hopefully to 15 to 17, a good number, but just not good enough to beat Cal, which is I'm hoping for. But again, if Junior Caminero ends up getting 19 and he wins, would I be shocked? No. I wouldn't be shocked one bit. So we'll see how this plays out. So Wood actually got eliminated because he had to go first, unfortunately. And I love James Wood. I mean, hell, that's the reason I put him on the thumb. If I would have known that James Wood would have been going first, anybody that goes first, you're fucked. So in my opinion, you should have had Jazz Chisholm or Brent Rooker go first. Especially since James Wood is an up-and-coming player like PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Jacob Wilson for the Athletics. You don't want to have a up-and-coming star falling into the footsteps of Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, and he's on that level. Why the hell would you have him go first? We want to see James Wood, actually do his thing. And I think that's the one thing that I have a gripe about is having James Wood go first. That was fucking stupid. You should have had Jazz go first or Brent Rooker. Probably Jazz. I mean, the guy's 6 foot. Why the hell did he not go first? It's not like he was going to do anything anyways, and he only ended up getting a couple homers. But unfortunately, James was not able to get out of the first round. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. And we're approaching one of the highest number streams ever on the channel for live stream lately. And we just broke 21,000 subs. We need 95 to go to hit 22,000. We've been getting about 5 to 15 daily. And we went from about 1,000 to 1,500 regular viewers daily. Now we're at 4,000. And I think that it's going to get to like 5,000 and up. And obviously, if the Mariners make the playoffs or make a deep run, then the number will continue to grow. And again, I think I take a lot of pride, not just, covering the Mariners better than anybody else on YouTube, but also doing it the right way, by not being biased and also giving credit where credit is due for the other players that are great. I love watching Judge. I love watching Ohtani. Now, when we play those teams, do I want to win? Of course, but I like seeing them dominate the game. And it's just nice to be able to have another player on the Judge Ohtani level in Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. It's bringing more eyes to the sport, and that's great. Again, for a lot of people, they think it's boring, but to me, I don't think it is at all. And I love going to T-Mobile, like going to the ballpark. Like when you go to games, it's about the fans that you're around. Going to a baseball game is completely different than going to like a Blazer game for me, or going to an Oregon Duck game and sitting in the front row behind the bench. Like there's different vibes, on different types of sports. And, baseball fans are incredibly intelligent. Not maybe every single fan, but I feel like, especially Mariner fans, they're not dumb. They're very intelligent. We had to go through a 20-year slump without making the playoffs. Imagine, rooting for your favorite team, people in the chat, and having your favorite team, and you're buying jerseys and hats and gear, and you're watching the games, and they don't make the playoffs for 20 plus years. There's not a lot of people that would be able to do that. And again, if you're a fan of any team in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon or Washington, I mean, maybe besides the Oregon Ducks now, since it feels like they're on the cusp of winning a natty with Dan Lanning at some point, especially if Lanning stays for the next 10 years, it's almost guaranteed that the Ducks will make a natty or two. There's no guarantee that they win it the first time that they go. But based off recruiting and coaching and players, it sounds like they might have the best chance out of any team in Oregon or Washington. We saw the Huskies make the natty against Michigan. They didn't win with Michael Penix Jr., but it was their kind of coming out party. And it's cool to be able to see teams in Oregon and Washington, play well. And right now we're seeing the Seattle Mariners could have a better record, than what they have now. Only, few games above 500, but we definitely have one of the best players in the game, Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. Let's go. I'm not a Seahawk fan. I don't got any connection with them. So for me, it's, Blazers, Ducks, because I live here in Oregon, Kraken for hockey, Mariners, because I met Ken Griffey Jr., obviously, as I showed the photo early on. And the only team that I root for that's outside of Oregon and Washington is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm a defensive guy. So I'm a big Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, Mike Allstott kind of guy. And again, I was super shocked when we got Brady and Gronk and AB, having Bruce Arians as coach. I never in my wildest dreams thought that would happen. I figured that the Bucs would only win one in my lifetime, and they ended up winning two. we're the only team to go to a Super Bowl twice and win both, besides the Baltimore Ravens. And again, if the Seahawks, would have had better defensive players back when I was a kid, maybe, and again, I think I enjoyed watching the Niners the most, with Montana and Rice when I was a kid, but I didn't want to hop on the bandwagon, with Montana winning 4 championships and Steve Young and Dion winning 1 in 94. I just didn't want to hop on that wagon when I was, 12 years old and, oh, look at me, I'm a Niner fan. They won 5 championships. And I had this funny feeling that the Niners would never win again, and they haven't. And, Bucs have won too. So again, I'm a defensive guy through and through. And it doesn't matter what sport, baseball, basketball, football, hockey. I love the positions that are underrated. O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling, special teams. It's not just about quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. All right, Junior Caminero off to a fast start here, sitting at 4. Oh, he robbed him. At the wall. I wonder if they gave it to him. So did they give that homer that kid got? Did they give it to him or not? Redskins. Mark Rippon, Art Monk, Gary Clark, John Riggins, Darryl Green, Dexter Manley. I get name drop for days. I'm a big card collector from back when I was a kid, and I would always flip the cards over and memorize all the stats on the back of like everyone. Height, weight, college, batting average, home runs, touchdowns, picks, all that stuff. So yeah, but again, just the Seahawks and the Niners just didn't have enough, and I knew Dion was going to leave the Niners after they won, and he went to the Cowboys in '95. So, I waited until I was 13, and then when I saw Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp, I already liked Lynch and Rondé Barber and Mike Allstott. Those are my kind of guys, and and I just pretty much stuck with them, since I was 13, and I'm 43 now, so I've been a Buck fan for 30 years. So, the only team I root for outside of the Oregon-Washington area. All right, Junior Caminero at 7. Wow, he lowered the boom there. Now he's at 8. Next one does not go. Man, he's really pulling that baseball. Uh-oh. I don't know if Cal's going to win. Junior's getting hot. Holy moly. Need him to start getting kind of jammed up here. Man, this is going to come down to the wire. If Cal wins, he might win by like 1. Oh, God. This is a good final. And Junior is rested. Obviously, he didn't have to, swing as much as Cal did in that second round. Oh, 14. Not looking good for Cal Raleigh here. I mean, it's going to be so close. Man, so close. And this is exactly what you wanted. You didn't want to see, kind of the choke jobs from some of the other guys like Jazz, but here with Junior Caminero, obviously, Cal, obviously a little bit more popular and well-known, but Junior only had to swing a few times to, beat Buxton, who had 7, and he had 8, which he got within like the first minute, and then he just quit and didn't have to keep going. But if he did, he probably would have gotten to 17 to 21 and maybe would have been a little bit more fatigued. But, Cal has shown that, he's got the endurance by being a catcher. But with Junior Caminero, he's more rested. And we'll see if he gets hot enough here in this last round to pull off the championship, or if Cal can maybe win it by 1. Shout out to all the people that like, sub, donated, commented, shared. We're having some breaking numbers. 22,900 people have tuned in on the stream so far, and we're not done yet. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and everyone else. You can tell Cal. Come on, Cal. I want him to be the first catcher and first switch hitter to win. You know, he might be able to win the home run title this year over Judge and Ohtani. And again, you know, he's breaking all these records, most homers by a switch hitter, even more than Mickey Mantle, you know, multi-homer games. You know, there's so many things. We just got to hope that. There we go. Come on, baby. Come on, Cal. Even if you just win by one. Come on, Cal. And again, the only Mariner that has won this is Ken Griffey Jr. 3 times, right? And that's the record. There's number 15 by Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. looking on as we speak. That's my hero right there, baby. Junior Caminero at 15. Cal with 18. Couple outs to go. Come on, Cal. Championship round. And you get an additional out if it goes 425. 2 outs left. So here we go. I think Cal's going to win it, baby. Let's go. Yeah, 2001, the year that we got Ichiro, Ken Griffey Jr. was on the Reds. I got a Reds, Ken Griffey Jr. McFarland over here and some Mariner stuff as well. And then he played on the White Sox briefly too. Here we go. Cal's going to win, baby. As long as Junior doesn't get hot here. One more out to go. Come on, Mariners. I mean, this is so awesome, you know, for us because, again, we've kind of been living in the shadows for quite some time. But to be able to have, you know, Randy Arozarena filling in for Julio and Mooney for Munoz and Brian Wu, and now with Cal Raleigh doing Cal Raleigh things. Let's go, baby. I can feel it. Let's go, Cal. He'll be the first catcher to ever win, as well as switch hitter. And again, it would be only fitting for Cal Raleigh to win it, especially with the year that he's having with the big dumper. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby! Hell yeah! Let's go! The champ is here! Hell yeah! Trident's up, baby! Let's go! Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about. I had a feeling, you know, if I wore the Cal, you know, maybe that we get a little bit of extra juice there. Great job by Junior Caminero, but the home run derby champion, first time as a catcher, first time as a switch hitter, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. What electricity, baby. Let's go. How cool is this? And again, this is great for baseball, right? You know what I mean? Because again, we were looking for someone, you know, to be Ken Griffey Jr. 2.0, and a lot of us early on, including myself, thought maybe it would be Julio. You know, and Julio still is a good player, but Cal has a chance to be the best catcher ever. You know, if he can stay healthy for 15, 20 years and keep producing on a high level. You got to remember, before the torpedo bat, he was hitting 29 to 34 home runs, and all the haters said that he wasn't even a top 10 catcher last year, which was completely false. And at the end of the year, he was ranked number 1. And then this year, in getting introduced to the torpedo bat, getting one custom made from the left and the right, obviously at 38 home runs, number 1 in MLB, and winning the home run derby and making us so proud as Seattle Mariner fans. Let's go. Boom! Fuck yeah. The only Mariner to win ever besides Ken Griffey Jr. that won it 3 times. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Gained another sub. We're getting subs left and right. And obviously everyone, for the most part, that knows that I cover the Seattle Mariners, there's going to be a little bit more interest, since we do Cal's games, game in and game out. Jeff Passan there about to interview the big dumper. Consistency, baby. And Junior was well rested, and it didn't matter. And you know what makes even the most special out of it all? That he was the only participant that had his dad and his brother helping him. So it's not just an award for him. It's an award for his brother, who's 15, that caught, did a great job. And his dad was fantastic pitching the ball. Nice job. And I always, I'm a big family kind of guy. And whenever I see father-son combo stuff, and it definitely reminds me of me and my dad. And it kind of makes me tear up a little bit, because again, I know that not everyone, might have their mom or dad around still. And, it's really cool to be able to see Cal win, but even more special to do it with his brother and his dad in attendance. Awesome. Fucking A, dude. Incredible. Gained another sub, 93 to go to 22,000. Let's go. We've gained like 20 to 30 today. Man, so sweet. And then again, I will be doing the MLB All-Star game tomorrow. Cal will be the starting catcher for the American League. Cody Rhodes in the building. The American Nightmare. How cool is this? Wow, gets the belt and the hardware and the chain. How cool is that? So All-Star game tomorrow is at 5 on Fox, and I'll call that game. And then starting on Friday, 7:10 against the Astros on Friday. Saturday, 6:40 on MLB Network. Sunday, it'll be 1:10. And then Monday, we play the Brewers. So Astros after the All-Star game for 3, and then we go to and play the Brewers. So exciting, man. This is a very special year. And again, if we can get Randy and Julio and Cal and Woo and Gilbert and Mooney and Brash and everyone can get on the same page, who's to say that the Mariners don't make a run, for the ALDS, ALCS, or the World Series this year? Of course, the Yankees and the Astros and the Blue Jays and Tigers have a better record, but again, if we get our guys on at the same time, we can beat any of those teams. And we've proven it, and again, we got embarrassed and swept by the Yankees in the Bronx, but then we end up going to play the best team in baseball and putting up 35 in 3 games. So again, we have the players. We just have to be able to bring that consistency. Let's go, baby. Yes, and now they can replay the video on the left as him as a kid, and then the video on the right as an adult. And this will be a night that he will never, ever forget. And so cool for baseball. And I definitely want Judge Ohtani and Cal to be in a home run derby. And if that were to happen, would Cal win? Probably not. Ohtani and Judge would definitely be the favorites. But still cool to be able to have all these records being broken. And then also Cal now being the first catcher and the first switch hitter to be able to win it. How cool is that? And we ended up having one of the highest streams on the channel ever today, which is amazing. And we broke 21,000 subs today as well. So a lot of positivity here. I'm on cloud 9 right now. I don't even know what to say. Unbelievable. 23,700 people on this particular stream, and it's still growing. Unbelievable. Oh, man. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Is there anything I can do photo-wise, Flying Monk? Anything that you want to be able to see before I go? I got to be able to take my pup on a walk. This was the only day that we were going to have like a cooler day of about 80. The next 4 days are going to be like hell. It's going to be like 90 to 100 for the next 4 days, and then we get 4 days in the 80s. So I'm not really looking forward, to this fucking heat wave for the next 4 days. But I will say this. I'm super excited for Cal Raleigh. I'm super excited for his dad and his brother. Super excited for the Seattle Mariners. And I'm super excited for every single person in the room that liked, subbed, donated, commented, shared. I couldn't have done this without you guys. This is going to be probably one of the biggest streams that we've ever had on the channel. And let alone Cal Raleigh ended up winning the Home Run Derby in 2025. Incredible. And on top of that, right, we ended up getting the best player in the draft. We had the third pick in the draft, and we got LSU's lefty, Cade Anderson, who's the best player in the entire draft, and we got him at 3. The Nats had pick 1. They had Willits, which was kind of not even the best player in the draft. 2 was the Angels. They decided to go for another pitcher because they're stupid, and then we end up getting the best player in the draft at 3. So in the future, we're going to have Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, George Kirby, Durangelo that we drafted last year that can pitch left or right, and now we have Cade. Unbelievable. And again, the future is going to be so fucking bright for the Seattle Mariners, and today we are flying high. Let's go. History made, baby. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that I got to throw a photo up of him, too. Anything you want to be able to see? Flying Monk. And it's so cool that he's a lefty as well, because we don't really have too many lefties. Gabe Spire in the bullpen. Taylor Saucedo, who got sent back down for Vargas, who just became, I don't know, a first-time father or, another kid under his belt. But he got added back to the roster, which for some of us might not be too thrilled about, but hopefully Vargas will do okay moving forward. But with the third pick of the draft, we were supposed to have like that was a big Seattle logo there. We were supposed to have like the 15th pick, then got all the way up to 3rd. And, to be able to get a player like that is just insane. Big Seattle logo came up out of nowhere. Let me see where. Here it is. The big thumper from Florida State. And good old Cade Anderson, baby. Unbelievable. Can't believe we got him. Nice job, Cal. Can't wait to see how this team develops moving forward. All right, man. Sounds good. Yeah, big Seattle logo. And we got the big Seattle logo there in the corner. We can do it like that. Do it like this. 4th of July, MLB. Let's go. Unbelievable. Try dance up. Cal Raleigh doing the unthinkable, huh? So many amazing things happened today. And Cal Raleigh, you did it, baby. Try dance up. Go Mariners. And again, this is going to be something that we will never forget. Absolutely. And Griffey has the most wins, out of any player with 3. Imagine if Cal ends up doing this a few more times, maybe he'll end up tying Ken Griffey Jr., with 3 championships. So, yeah, Paisley does. Yeah, Big Dumper won the Home Run Derby, baby. Let's go. A chain, a trophy, and a belt with Cody Rhodes there. Awesome. Man, what a great day for baseball, and we only need 8 more likes to be able to hit a hundo. I mean, we already gained like 15 to 20 subs, broke, 21,000, which is great. We're at 21,007 now. We ended up having one of the highest streams ever, here on the channel. Let's take a quick peek to see what it says. I mean, we've been getting about like 1,000 to, 2,500, or maybe 1,000 to 1,000 to 3,400. We're normally in that range, but lately it's been like maybe 1,400 to 3,400. But this stream, We had 24,000, and it's still going up. So again, I don't know what kind of numbers we're going to hit for the MLB All-Star Game tomorrow, but we definitely are peaking right now, and hopefully we can get a few people to smash that like button on the way out. And again, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. In the finals, if you're just tuning in, it was Junior Caminero who ended up resting for a most part in that second round because he only needed to get 8 to beat Buxton, who kind of shit the bed. And Junior was fresher, but the one that was the most consistent was the guy they call Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. He ends up being victorious, winning not only the championship by being the first catcher and the first switch hitter. He ends up getting the spinning chain. He gets the award, and he gets a championship belt by Cody Rhodes. And the best part about it, his dad and his brother were a part of it, being a pitcher and a catcher. And it's always going to be better when it's a family affair. How cool is that? Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the Derby as much as I did. Cal Raleigh, you're the man. You're the truth. We love you. We appreciate you. You're going to be the guy that leads us, hopefully, on a deep playoff run. You're making history as we speak, and every single one of us is so proud of you. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Cal Raleigh, the winner of the 2025 MLB T-Mobile Home Run Derby. And I'll be live tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific for the 2025 MLB All-Star Game. I will see you guys there. Enjoy the rest of your night. Tridents up. Go Mariners. Congratulations, Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. We love you. Tridents up. Go M's.